This is the Dragon's Den. I come here about once a week to engage in trade and barter, and comics for toys and CDs and other collectibles. This is what we do. I give them to him, and I trust him to give me a fair price, and he always does. And then I get stuff. So, shall I hand them to you, Mr. David?
Oh, sure.
These are the better books.
Ooh. Where'd you dig this one up? Yeah. I don't want to know. That's why he's nicknamed Eddie from Chicago.
That's nice.
Yes. Boy, you were like holding out on me here.
For years and years, when I came here, we'd open the Overstreets or we'd open the Wizards, and this is something that I want out in the comic book community, and it's very important to realize that when you look in a price guide, and I'm sure Dave will back me up on this, when you look...
I'll back him up on that.
He'll back him up.
I don't know what he's saying, but I'll back him up.
When you look in a price guide, some variant covers, when you look in a price guide, that's the third time I've said that, and you see a price, even for a modern or recent comic book, and it says the book is worth $12. That book is an estimate based on, in Overstreets, based on the top 12 or 14 retailers of comic books in the United States. The problem is, if this McFarlane cover of Batman, if it says that this is worth $6 in the guide, or $10 in the guide, that's probably a misnomer because, Dave, how much could you sell this for in the store?
Ooh, that would be a
$3 or $4 book?
probably.
Okay, if this is a $3 or $4 book, that means Dave, and I only engage in trade, can only give me $1.50 or $2 in trade for this book. So when you go and sell comics into a local comic book shop, you have to be aware that what it says in the guide and what an actual reputable dealer can sell it for are two different things entirely. Because of the advent of trade paperbacks,
That's been a big change.
that's killing the back issue market. I mean, why would you pay $20 for this when you can get a trade paperback collection or an Essentials Fantastic Four for $19.99 that collects 20 different issues, including this one? So,
Makes good sense for the comic book companies because they make money on the trades.
what don't they make money off of?
Back issue, yes.
So now what we're going to do is, now that Dave's taken a look at the books,
I'm going to do my best to rip them off.
he's going to do his best to rip them off. Whatever,
No, rip you off.
Right. But whatever he offers, I'm going to take regardless. And then
Great, I
at
got
this
5
point,
cents in my pocket.
okay, that's good. At this point, I usually walk around the store and look for stuff that I might want in trade. The first thing that I'm going to grab while I'm here is 25th anniversary g.i.joe figures, Cobra Polar Assaults, and this is the only one that I couldn't find in the retail pegs. I have all these already. That's the second appearance of Deathstroke. That I've never read before. One more from cover number 1. This is a very strange collection. Wolverine Origin. Indiana Jones. Ultimate books are always pretty good. Ultimate X-Men. Blue Beetle, not so much. Star Wars, the kids all seem to like the Star Wars. Wow, these are really stinky comics. Those aren't good at all.
It's 101.5 WPDH. We're doing a triple play. Now the question is...
The problem that I have with collectibles is there are things that I know, like G.I.Joe and Transformers and Star Wars I know, but there are some lines that are on the periphery, like I'm writing this new book on 80s toys that the contract is, I think it's due February 2nd, and it's on all 80s properties. So thanks to Joe and Collector's Realm, I have the Strawberry Shortcakes, and I have a lot of vintage Star Wars 12-inch figures, regular figures, and vehicles. And now, slowly but surely, I'm trying to pick up
You picked up some of the LJN
oh,
wrestlers.
the LJN wrestlers that are I mean,
Those
those
are
are in
great.
beautiful
Yeah,
condition.
you want to try and find ones that dogs haven't chewed. Or
Right.
They haven't rubbed them on the concrete outside, so their noses are all shaved off.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they're
But
a little
it's-
tough.
they're
The paint
quality
job
figures.
always comes off on those, but yeah, the ones you picked up were nice.
And when I come in, I come in for what, an hour and a half, 2 hours at a pop.
Yeah, usually
When
hang
I
out for a
come
little while.
in, we sit around and
Yeah.
bullshit or whatever. I always see the same people coming in, and the first line out of their mouths, "Did you get any new blah blah?" Insert
whatever
your
they're into, yeah.
your favorite line in, and that's good because that means they're always going to depend on you for that. When they could go to Evil Bay, when they could go to Big Bad Toy Store, but because it's reasonable and just now, you were talking to that lady. You don't sit behind your counter like the typical. Sorry about this. If this is you, don't do it anymore. Please. Sit behind your computer, looking up stuff on the interweb, and just chilling out. You actually interact with the customers, and you want to help them. And that's what it's about. This is my favorite I hate to say it, it's my favorite display case in the store.
Well,
I think it's beautiful because you have the Rey Mysterio masks, you have beautiful signed stuff. Hacksaw Jim Dugan signed,
He was at one of our first signings.
He was one of your first signings. 2x4s, Hogan Heavyweight Championship belts. What I may have to get today, we were talking about this earlier, is I may have to get some of the
More
LJNs. I may have to get a couple more LJNs because, you have them, and it's
There's a
just
few.
easier.
The Coco Beware with the Frankie is
That's nice,
a good-
right?
Well, the thing about it is, not too many of them came with any accessories.
Right.
So
And
you'll
the
find
paint apps
Coco,
on that are
But you'll find Coco,
immaculate.
but he'll be missing Frankie.
Yeah.
You'll find the
Frankie's the parrot, by the way.
Honky Tonk Man won't have the guitar.
Right.
But for the most part, Hulk Hogan didn't have. Well, he had the belt, but majority of them didn't have any accessories.
Right.
It was just a big
And that's
rubber,
and
just
that's
a
the
big
cool
block of rubber.
Well, and Joe knows that
Which
when
is
I
a nice
when I
weapon.
do these articles and these books, it would be easy to put the Iron Sheik in there and Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, but you want some of the harder to find pieces in there because you're not just appeasing the casual fans. You want a collector to look at the opening image and say, "Oh, cool, he has."
Right.
He has
Yeah,
some of
for instance,
the.
in that series, it's the last series, the black
Yep.
carded series. You want that Ultimate Warrior. You want a few pieces from that.
I would like the Ultimate Warrior. And eventually I'll get it. But you know me, I'll try and complete every toy line if I can. Anime stuff, McFarlane Monsters, Akira, Spawn, lots more Spawn. G.I. Joe, 25th anniversary, 12-inch Joe, Sigma 6s. McFarlane's Lost. Hey, they didn't sell very well anywhere.
No, not
anywhere. DC Direct stuff. Actually, you should look some of these up.
You
some
want me
of
to
this
tell me
stuff.
that? Yeah.
Well, why don't you?
Because I sell it for.
Justice
sell it
Wonder.
for.
I know. Marvel Legends box sets, newer Marvel Legends. Oh, there we go. When we're at the storage space, I have a bunch of Charlie Brown figures that we'll go through. Great Pumpkin. I got some of them here. Little stuffed animals. Well, not stuffed animals. Stuffed characters. Marvel famous covers. Old school crappy Toy Biz figures with the Wolverine with pop-out claws. Some more deluxe figures on top. Hulk Hogan foam fingers. And because I'm trying to build up my wrestling section for my 80s book, I got an Iron Sheik Iran. Great face. Look at that face. Honky Tonk Man with guitar. Unfortunately, just like every single specimen that you find, there's a little purple showing through.
They used the darker colored
Yeah,
plastic for that
and
one.
that's the problem. They did use the darker when it comes through in Coco Beware. And
With Frankie.
And my favorite, I have to say this.
You love those.
My favorite, the Bella Sarah horse cards for little girls. And it says that the latest promotional, that if you complete the whole set of Bella Sarah cards of the second series, if you go online and log in, they will mail you 3 free pounds of horse meat. But thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Very, very
Always
much.
a pleasure.
Thank you. Hi. This is the storage space that contains about I'd say about 40% of my collection. I know that a couple diehard collectors are going to be very, very upset with me after they look at a few of these pieces. For instance, if you look behind this Flint mini bust, there's Transformers Generation 1 Fortress Maximus. The box used to be in really good condition, but since it's been stored in storage spaces and moved around for the book that I did, it's not in such great condition. The figure's mint though, but you know, I just want to preface this with a little disclaimer stating that some of the toys are going to be in the boxes are going to be in interesting condition, but there's a lot of it. So I guess the first thing that we can look at is the vintage Star Wars. There's some Empire Strikes Back. Trying to find the good stuff. Here's some Power of the Force. These are all in mint condition, just sealed, so when I do the Star Wars book, eventually, they're ready to go. I took a couple boxes out of the vintage Star Wars stuff. Here's a Tauntaun in a really crappy box that's been packed away securely. There he is, Yoda, the Jedi Master, on an ESB card, Empire Strikes Back card. There's a Y-Wing fighter, a boxed actual scale twin pod cloud car. Well, not actual scale for the figures. Here are some nice vintage pieces. Jabba the Hutt. I think I have 2 or 3 sets of those. Same thing with the tail, Patrol Dewback. A boxed TIE Fighter. Jabba the Hutt playset accessories. Boxed X-Wing Fighter. Boxed Patrol Dewback. Oh, it looks like I still have the inserts on that one. Isn't that nice? The Sears exclusive Cloud City playset still have all the footholes and foot pegs. The Wampa, you know, I never realized what a small box that is. Look at that, that's tiny. You could pack like 20 of these on the store shelves. Another exclusive Hoth Ice Planet playset. And here's one of my prized possessions. Power of the Force 84 Tatooine skiff. Because it was sealed, I just had it shrink wrapped. I think I have a Droid Factory playset that I shrink wrapped because it was sealed as well. Again, don't get angry at the way I put them aside. Put them inside these boxes. Let's see what's in here. Repro decals for the X-Wing Fighter, repro decals for the TIE Fighter. There's a sealed Droid Factory, and you can look at the price tag. It was originally $12.95, then $9.97, and now $6.97. So whoever bought it, it's still sealed. Star Wars boxed Landspeeder. My favorite Star Wars playset, Imperial Attack Base. I had 3 of these as a child. I asked all my friends to give them to me, and I traded them stuff for them. More Star Wars stuff. Rebel Command Center Adventure Set. And what a great vehicle. Well, for the time, what a great vehicle. Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. I've always found this really interesting, and I wanted to point this out to fans. On the back, if you look at the instructions on the back, it says, Darth talks to the Grand Vizier with the pretend viewing screen. So at this point in the films, the Emperor wasn't even named. He was known as the Grand Vizier. Really strange stuff. But a great box vehicle. Looks like a Han Solo on an Empire Strikes Back card. You know, it's the ugly Han Solo. One of my favorite pictures on a card back is the Princess Leia on Star Wars card. I just wish it wasn't the free Boba Fett offer, but you know, what can you do? Ramba. FX7 medical droid. Star Wars Stormtrooper on a 12-back card. I love the descriptions of weapons on the back. I always found that fascinating. The first Star Wars figures I ever bought were in Belgium, because my mom's family's from Belgium, and I remember going to a toy store that had these on American cards, actually. And I remember looking at them, and I thought that was really cool that they put pictures of them with accessories. Logray, the Ewok Medicine Man. Hammerhead. Malkeely, the Rancor Keeper. EV99, I always like to have one on card because the mouths are always loose and so are the legs. Jawa on a Star Wars card, again a 12-back card. And the last one in this box is the Bespin Security Guard White. Here's the old AT-AT. It's actually in pretty good condition, and inside is where I keep all the weapons and accessories. Just easier to put them inside the vehicle, that way I don't have to root through boxes forever. Here's some newer He-Man stuff. Just lately the commemorative series has caught on fire because the limited numbers, limited edition, 1 of 10,000. I think I have 5 or 6 sealed cases of the new sculpts that Mattel did. Look at that. That is just amazing. Some of DC's 13-inch figures. Barry Allen Flash. I mean, these aren't that impressive because you could have gotten, or you can still get, a bunch of these at retail. My favorite of the bunch, Lex Luthor. Look at that, just right out of Challenge of the Super Friends. Gorgeous laser pistol. I love the canisters on his chest. Stands. This Green Lantern's going for quite a bit of money now. I think he's $150, $180 figure. Hal Jordan Green Lantern. I do get some of the Transformers masterpieces. I think at my house I have the Optimus Prime. I think this is my Dungeons and Dragons box. There's Kellic on a crappy card, but guess what? It's mint on card, and it's nice to have mint samples of every toy line. Fortress of Trepang's playset. Yeah, here's some loose figures. Loose AD&D figures with all their weapons and accessories. I got these from my friend Aaron Pearson, one of my oldest childhood friends. Anyone who remembers the old classic Bugs Bunny cartoon where he has the bottle of ether and vanishing fluid. Fort Max, we've got to put you here. Styrofoam's intact, new labels, stuff like that. I used to do a lot of DC Direct stuff. These are all Alex Ross Justice and Kingdom Come figures. It's amazing when you look at, some of this stuff. There's a 12-inch Chewbacca from the original line. It looks like I lost a cartridge here somewhere. That's not good. But it's probably in the bag. Here's a good piece. "12-inch IG-88, the rarest of all the 12-inch Star Wars. Looks like we got a Han Solo minus a medallion. A couple Luke Skywalkers. I should probably say something about the comics as well. These comics are 3 high in the beginning, and after the Eternia playset, they fall off and it's straight comics on the ground all the way back. So we've got some Silver Age in here, some Green Lanterns. So, lots of comics in here too, but these are the towers for the Eternia playset. If you ever get a chance to buy it and you're a He-Man fan, I recommend getting one mint loose complete because the playset comes with 3 towers. The Skull Tower, the Snake Tower, and the main tower there. The 2 boxes of parts are here, and Castle Grayskull attaches to this section. Snake Mountain attaches to this section, and it spreads out like over 4.5, 5 feet. It's a beautiful playset, and my wife hated me for it. If it's cool, I'll get it. At SUNY New Paltz, where I teach, I went to graduate school there as well with a guy who was the head staff writer for South Park. So I have a fondness and I have an affinity for South Park. I think it's still timely. I like the production quality, I like the production value, or lack thereof. And so I had to buy, South Park figures. Poop-faced Kyle, regular Kyle. You know, reams of those. Just because I like cartoon figures translated well. This is, I think, almost all the Transformers Energon action figures packed away and sealed. I like reading. Hey kids, reading is fundamental. So there's a Calvin and Hobbes, there's the original Peanuts hardcover stuff. Let's see what's in here. Ah, this is a weird box. Always get carded samples. For the kids who like the Battlestar Galactica, that's an original. Cylon Warrior Unpunched, just chilling out. For the kids who like the Robotech, 3 for $2. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Could you imagine getting all of these for like under 25 bucks? 3 for $2. Whenever I see anything like this at a flea market, I always buy it if it's under $5, because I know that I'll be able to use it eventually. Not a bad figure, the Star Wars Ultimate Villain. A lot of the figures that I have of the 12-inch, you'll notice that I do open them up and set them up. I was going to say play with them, but of course I play with them. I open them up, I test them out. I don't know what it is about newer Star Wars vehicles. I'm fascinated when they come out with new sculpts. The V-Wing Starfighter, the ATTE, all the stuff that comes out. I try and get, of the new stuff, one of every vehicle and one of every figure. This is the Fisher-Price Adventure People. A lot of people consider Star Wars Micronauts to be some of the first 3 3/4 inch figures, but I mean, I guess if you look at that neck, that's where the swivel arm, or not the swivel arm, the pivot necks came from for G.I. Joe. I've always been fascinated by this line, and there really aren't a lot available except for the later stuff. And it's kind of corny, and it's kind of hokey, but it's still, we have to learn where modern action figures come from. And I'd be hard-pressed to not learn about this. So if anyone is a Fisher-Price Adventure team, or Adventure People, I don't know what they were called, collector, call me, write me, email me. I'd love to see your collection. I'd love to pick your brains, because they actually had some pretty good labeling going on back then as well. It looks like modern Transformers, some of them still sealed. Pretty cool Astro Train, huh? Modern Transformers figures. I always save the card backs, and I always pack away all the weapons. Alternator stuff. Alternated boxes, Grimlock and Swoop, Shock Blast. Hey, this is in the wrong spot. Hey look, it's another Tauntaun. Hey look, it's another Land Speeder. I don't know where this stuff comes from. Oh good. Hey look, it's another Jabba the Hutt playset. That's, sadly, I think my biggest problem is that because I don't even know what this is. Because I get so much stuff, sometimes I'll get duplicates. You'll notice when I go through boxes, I have a box Star Wars Land Speeder, and I have a loose one, and a few Tauntauns, and tons of speeder bikes, so it's foolish to pass that up. Did you hear that?
No.
Oh. There's a Sound Attack G.I. Joe vehicle going off right now because I touched the box. Thank you, Hasbro, for Sound Attack. Thank you. So I always bust this out when a G.I. Joe fan comes by, and since I know Chad's a G.I. Joe fan, I wish I had time to set this up. This is the greatest 3 3/4 inch, in my opinion, of course, the greatest 3 3/4 inch military playset ever made. Made by TriStar International Limited. I bought this on eBay maybe 2 years ago for an article I was doing for Toy Shop. Come on. Come on, look at that. Any MASH fans out there? There's the swamp. There's the stove. Charles Emerson Winchester's record player. And, the lengths that they went to for detail on this thing. It's a soft plastic mat. It's not a hard, cracky, Mego type plastic. There it is, right there. See it? fantastic that they did that. The signpost, Seoul, Boston, Tokyo, latrine, Burbank, military set. It looks like someone typed these. Fascinating stuff. And of course, my favorite accessory. Where is it? It's coming, I promise. There it is. 2 martini glasses sitting right on the bookshelf. That's an accessory. Fantastic. Gorgeous stuff. But this spreads out with over like 60 pieces. It's unreal. It's 16 square feet of playset. It's such fragile plastic that there aren't that many left. So if you get a chance, I mean, I'll show you the image again. Look at that. That's amazing. Not even made by a toy company, made by what is now Columbia TriStar, made by TriStar International. So it's very interesting to note their waist. It's not an actual O-ring. It looks like a piece of white elastic, so I'm assuming once they're broken for good. And of course I tried to hunt down and finally found the MASH mail-away patch that you can see on the back of the figure packages. Here's the instructions. I mean, I'm not going to assemble the playset, maybe later. That's the full set. But the detail, 6 gas cans, lamps, instructions signed by Colonel Potter. Enjoy your playset and have many hours of fun creating your own MASH TV series. Posters, you know, whatever. I don't know. These are all sealed. I know that these Alex Ross posters are, I guess, worth a bit of money, but, you know. Don't have room to put them up and won't put them up in my house. When I had first met my wife, and we got an apartment together, I had all of the Alex Ross individual posters up in my bedroom, framing like a Hall of Justice, and that was one of the first discussions that we had, was the removal of said posters. There's a couple of the sand crawlers, but I never thought that these would be worth money. If you look online on eBay right now, these are selling like hotcakes. It's probably because they were previews exclusives. And if you get bored playing with the sand crawlers, go watch Star Wars on Laserdisc. Why would I have this? Well, it's after the G.I. Joe book's done, I'm going to start working on a more generic 80s toy book. In aid of that, I've been compiling together Battle Beasts. So, you know, ossified orangutan number 76. I've already gone through and labeled pieces and weapons. You know, just so when I cover Battle Beasts in the book, I'll have some solid stuff. These are the Visionaries action figures, and they're actually pretty cool. We might as well take Witterquick out because I think he's the most iconic of the lead figures. I want to catch the light just right. Do we got that or no?
Yeah.
This is when, I guess bedazzle and holograms were really hot. Fascinated by hologram stickers. So it changes from a pony to a guy with wings. What red-blooded American boy doesn't like ponies? But they're, you know, the line only lasted for 2 years. It's an odd line because even if you look at this vehicle, this is the cannon, and these are the turrets, and these are the cannons. Well, where are the actual guns coming out of it? This vehicle, I believe, I'm almost positive this vehicle is complete. So what does it do? Bash things? Yeah. So I think we can see why the line didn't fare quite as well as G.I. Joe did. Oh. Anyone yet? Although it wasn't as popular as, say, G.I. Joe or the Transformers, I picked up all of these. I picked up this, number 1, and the more recognizable number 3 at a yard sale about 30 miles away from my house 2 years ago for $10 each. And they were both complete. One of them was still boxed. The number 3 was still boxed with the styrofoam. And as you can see, the chrome isn't that bad. So that's all the parts. I don't know if I remember how to put it together. Be easier with an image, right? Come on. I'm trying. I really am. Well, it's been a few years since I did that, and I have to have an extra plan thing. But that's Voltron 1. Voltron 3 is over there somewhere. I have the actual Matchbox product. Voltron is a very strange story, and as a lot of you folks know, Voltron was one of the only toys in the 80s that had the toy license owned by two different companies. By Matchbox and by Panache Place, which is why Matchbox focused on the die-cast and the more model-like Voltrons, where Panache Place made the plastic Voltron that the action figures came with, that the figures could actually fit inside the Voltron. I have that here too, and I have the Voltron 1, in anticipation, of course, of putting him in the 80s guide, because you can't have an 80s guide without this bad mamma jam. There you go. One of my prized pieces. Rawr, Gojira. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Oddly enough, he was, and collectors know this, he was flicking tongue, rawr, a member of the Shogun Warriors line. And watch this firing fist. Here it comes. Here it comes. Can't really do that with this stuff anymore. But and rolling wheels, you know, because every giant dinosaur thingy needs rolling wheels. Oh, probably the nicest Batmobile ever made. Pretty authentic. Superpowers Batmobile. Action features include headlights coming up, ram bar, capture claw. Really, really, really cool vehicle. Oh. One of the boxes of Thundercats. Weapons and accessories. Battlematic's still almost functional, but not really on him. If you saw the Dungeons and Dragons figures that I showed you earlier, these were LJN's finest achievement in 1985-86, were the Thundercats. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a live-action movie quite soon. So, folks, bust out the Thundercats figures. This really is a strange Battlematic action. It just kind of moves your arms. Oh. I think these are... Got some, looks like some GoBots hanging out. Vamp. A couple iconic ones. GoBots fans, we all know who this is, although he's in crappy shape and needs sticker repair. Little Leader 1 action. Micronauts Repros. Star Trek. Star Trek. Star Trek. Star Trek. Star Trek. Again, kids, don't do drugs, please. We got some Happy Days figures, some Brady Bunch figures. This company, Classic TV Toys, primarily wrestling figures, and I covered a few articles on them. And if you'll notice, there's the Brady Bunch. Greg, Alice, Mrs. Brady, Marcia, Peter, Jan, Bobby, and Cindy. Who is conspicuously absent from that card front? That's right. Mr. Brady. So I asked them, when are we going to be getting a Mr. Brady figure? And they said to me, we don't think it's appropriate to be making a Mr. Brady figure. I said, okay. Basically Mego repros, but they developed the lines further. You got an Al Molinaro figure. You got Chachi Arcola. You got Mr. Cunningham and Mrs. Cunningham, and Joni and Peter. The problem with the figures was, I think that, in my opinion, they used a lower quality plastic than Mego did, and some of the molds, particularly on the Mad Monster series, weren't very good. Some of the paint apps were a little sloppy, and they were put together. Sometimes you'd see 2 left hands or 2 right hands. Megos were my first love, and actually when I was working at a drugstore, Rexall's Drugs in downtown Seneca Falls, I always worked about 2 or 3 different jobs so I could afford to get these toys. I always dreamed about getting a Mego Green Arrow figure. And I romanticized it in my mind, thinking, okay, he looks just like Neil Adams' Green Arrow. His arrows came with fletching. There was a real feather in his cap. Super detailed gloves. So I saved up my money and saved up my money. And in the back of Toy Shop magazine in 1992, I found a Mego Green Arrow in the box for $80. And that was a lot of money back then. And I bought him, and I got him home, and I went, well, that's not really what I thought he looked like. But it spurred me to get a Mego Lizard, and it spurred me to get a Mego Mr. Fantastic, and then I finished my Mego line. And after that, I went back and finished my G.I. Joe line. And after that, I went back and finished my Transformers line. So it was all because of Mego figures, what people consider the iconic superhero action figures. Hey, here it is, more recognizable. I don't know why I have them. There's some Voltron tattoos. Blue Lion, Red Lion, Yellow Lion, Green Lion, Black Lion, Coffin of Doom, and the really cool one that everyone wants. One of the most interesting parts of assembling figures, and I just kind of threw him together, is with G.I. Joe in the Transformers book, Chad and I were talking about how to do it right to set these action figures up for photos. And I'm kind of a stickler for that, to the extent where if a figure or a vehicle comes with accessories, Voltron 3 Lion set accessories, I'll even to this day, even though I may have transformed him 30 or 40 times, I'll always look at the instructions, particularly for Transformers, because, you know, as we all know, G.I. Joe Transformers fans are sticklers for perfect vehicle accessory placement, perfect transformations. If you look at some of the Transformers like Bruticus, you know, I've seen other guides where Transformers are mistransformed, so always look at the instructions, you know, and it's educational because you'll find out things you may not have known, you know, about the figure. Let's do this for a second though while we're here. This is the Panache Place Voltron, and these were made exclusively to be played with the action figures, so each figure has a cockpit that the figure can sit in. So just for scales purposes. Here's the original by Matchbox, and here's the Panache Place version. You can see the body's bigger because it has to accommodate the figures. You know, it's not a bad vehicle because they actually came with accessories, but it's still, I still have a fondness for the more metallic ones. What I plan on doing one day is I'd love to be able to open up a toy museum, and that reminds me of what's in this box. You know, the old line from the movie, "It should be in a museum." Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I would rank this next to MASH as my second favorite playset of all time. And this has never been assembled. Just beautiful. I'm not even sure I want to break anything out, but there's the old Ark of the Covenant, really chromy, really nice. I will not assemble it. I will assemble it one day. There's all the snakes and Little Mummy and stuff like that. And this has never been opened. Still has the wrap around it. There's our friend Indiana Jones. Where's our other friend? It's the same exact head mold. Just different colors. Pretty interesting, right? Why not? I mean, you have the Harrison Ford head. I love looking at stuff like that. That's fun. But I mean, it's a felt hat, though. Look at that hat. It's just awful. It makes
It's
him
like
look.
a sombrero.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Here we've got Tron figures. Their accessories are in another bag. These were the really old, crappy action figure cases that you'd have to kill your action figure to get out of. When Gabriel was into toys, I know it's a crappy card, but I cut it off. It has both accessories. These kind of follow the mold of the MASH figures a little bit, but they don't have the O-ring. But some of the Legend of the Lone Ranger stuff was nice. I wish I had my box of Gabriel 12-inch Lone Ranger figures here. Man, those are something. A lone Lord of the Rings figure, not a big fan. Hey, I'm looking for this. This goes atop the Abominable Snowman for Rudolph. You know, these wanted to be smaller size Marvel Legends, but the problem was when they scaled them down, they didn't consider that we've all had the problem with Marvel Legends. You twist the wrist and you're like, why isn't this going? Why isn't this going? Please make it go. And then it snaps. These were the worst offenders of snapping parts. I think you could see the Iron Man arm dangling because I moved it once. That's not an action figure, folks. Hey, everybody likes Hellboy. More Hellboy. There's some Hellboy. Underdog. Oh, cool. Original Power Rangers. Power Rangers make me sad. More original Power Rangers. I don't know what this is, so let's check it out, let's say. It feels squishy. Are you kidding me? Nobody doesn't like a stuffed Gorn, or a stuffed Andorian, or a stuffed Mugato. I would apologize, but they're just so cool I couldn't not get them. You ever heard of that? Zelda? The kids like this stuff. Simon's Quest, Narc, Gold Zelda, Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. Even though I probably already have them somewhere. Ooh, Star Trek Phaser. Outer Limits action figures. A giant Sin City Marv, more Outer Limits figures. Transporter series Star Trek figures. Emily the Strange from the self-titled comic book. MASH Jeep. MASH Ambulance. And then what's in here? Parademon Clark Kent, Mr. Freeze. Steppenwolf. Firestorm. Plastic Man. I'm hoping to get a carded one tomorrow at the store. Red Tornado. Samurai. Superman. Green Arrow. Cyclotron. Brainiac. Green Lantern. Calabac. Orion. Some of these are still uncut cards. Mantis. Lex Luthor. Batman on a destroyed card. Flash. One of my favorite Aquaman figures. I love that. Martian Manhunter. Mr. Miracle. Shazam. Darkseid. The Joker. Woman. I wonder where my Wonder Woman went. I have her card. Super Amigos Cyborg. Hey, I'm not going to spend $300 for a card of Cyborg. And Desaad. Why are they so cool? Really, probably DC's finest action figures. Oh. Awesome. Fantastic. When you look at the superpowers, the Mego figures of the 70s kind of portray a romantic ideal of what the character should look like. You know, they're inaccurate representations, but they're good enough. The superpowers were dead on. You know, for example, this Captain Marvel. Just the simple fact that they took the time, look at that cape, isn't that beautiful? To get it right, to give him his hood. These are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful figures. And I bought most of these on the card as a kid, and I just saved them. I did cut the cards, folks. Sorry about that, but you know what? Toys are meant to be played with. Yada yada yada. Had to show Aquaman. Good stuff. Oh, this is one of those boxes that you open up and you say to yourself, what? Why would I ever get the... Let's see what's in here. Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness. I interviewed Bruce Campbell for the article that I did on these figures. And at the store that I bought these from years ago, or not years ago, a few years back, I did a review of them, and Bruce Campbell was fantastic, and I recommend everyone watch Burn Notice because he's on it and he's really funny. But when I find something on sale and I'm using trade, I will buy as many as possible because who doesn't want a Deadite and Deadite Foot Soldier 2-pack? So I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a bunch. You know, many, 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 many more boxes in the back. And keep in mind, this is without most of my new Star Wars stuff and without any G.I. Joe stuff, of which the entire collection is displayed at my house. I think I said before that I spent a lot of time in Belgium because that's where my mom's from and her family lives currently. So when I was a kid going into the toy stores over there, the one thing that was offered to kids was Playmobil stuff. I looked at the model when I wrote an article on this. This is based on an actual Roman trireme. Senatus, Populus, People, and Republic. I mean, these are all things that are used on the seal of Rome. It's really, to this day, it's really fascinating. Shields come off, oars, a seat for the captain or emperor if you want. The Playmobil, let's turn that the right side. The Playmobil, they don't call it the Roman line, they call it the Romans line, the Playmobil Roman Arena. Look at that. I mean, I'm an action figure collector, and I guess in the most technical sense, these are probably action figures. I mean, the detail. Senatus, Populisque, Romanum, Claudius, Maximus, Imperator, and then it has an anno, it has a date for the year on there. 2 statues, the Emperor, guards, lions, gladiators. It comes with everything that you see on the front of this. It comes with everything here. It comes with hay and a bucket for the damn horse. Ruddy cheeks on the Emperor's bride. Nets, shields. I mean, 84 centimeters, 33 inches wide. Not diameter, but wide. All of these weapons, all of these accessories. I mean, what kid wouldn't play with this for hours and hours? The screensaver. The screensaver on my computer at work is my cat sitting in the middle of the Romans arena licking his chops because he had been biting the action figures. One thing that I try and do now, and as you witnessed at the Dragon's Den and I mentioned before, is I like to troop build. When I have $20 or $30 extra in credit at some of these collectible stores, who cares about that? I'll pick up extra troop figures. For instance, Royal Guards. You get 2 or 3 of those. Put them together. Clone Commanders. This looks like this is mostly troop action figures, yeah. So when I have extra credit, I'll pick up. There's another 3 of the blue ones. Another Wookiee Warrior. And then, sadly, the head turns green on these. Only on 2 of the samples that I have, and I bought all 3 of those at the same time. This is a very special box, this Priority Mint box, and the reason is because I have some Plastidip, and I have some Black Magic Tire Wet Plastidip, Black Magic Tire Wet, and the only other thing you need, and it's not in the box, is a pencil. So if you have an action figure head that's graying, like Mego figureheads, they're made with soft plastic, and probably this as well. Take the pencil, take the action figure head, pop it on top of the pencil, take the tire wet, soak the entire head in tire wet. Open your top of Plastidip, dunk the head that's been soaked in tire wet into the Plastidip, turn it over, stick the pencil in a piece of cardboard, and walk away overnight. The next day, you wake up, you take an X-Acto blade or a pair of scissors, and you peel it apart, and it actually degrays Mego heads. One of my favorite parts about action figures is play sets. And this is still sealed, I've never assembled it. But I think it looks cool. I'd love to be able to put this puppy together. I probably have like 10 or 15 bat caves from over the years. But, you know, I think it's pretty interesting. A lot of action features, 42 inches tall, not bad. One day it'll be put together or sold. I don't even know what some of this stuff is, so. Oh. Season 4, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Season 4, awesome. Lost fans, not bad figures. You know, I have one criticism of McFarlane figures. You know, they're not action figures, they're statues. But for what they do a good job. You know, you're not going to be able to pose these. You're just going to be able to set them up. But it's a great property. It's Christmas again. Oh, these are actually cool. You know, I'll pick them up. Why not? They're fun. Who doesn't like mini-mates? Giant size X-Men box set. I've got a ton of Battlestar Galactica mini-mates here. You know, I like them. They're not real action figures, but when kids come over to my house, I usually give them mini-mates. This is awful light. I wonder what this could be. That's right, Rocky electronic boxing gloves, right? Signed by Joe Frazier, though. So that's pretty cool. He was at Toy Fair one year for Jack's Pacific. So I had him sign them. I think the last thing we'll look at today, because I'm going to pass out because of all the toys we've looked at. This is the 2002 Imperial Shuttle. You know, it's really funny. I think sealed samples of this go for more than actual loose mint samples of the original one, but you never realize how big the damn thing is until you open it up in the Star Wars films where this actually lands. It's just so intimidating. Fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And of course I opened it up just to check it out. I always do that. Oh, more stuff. Exclusive collector's edition. I love numbers like that. 1 of 50,000. Target exclusive. I do like that Hasbro's been making Cantina Denizens with posts and glasses. I like that because you can add them. Anytime I can get a speeder bike, I'll pick up a speeder bike. It looks like there's some troop builder figures in here. We've got snow troopers, and even if they come on the old green cards, I'll pick up Jawas or TIE Fighter pilots. I'll pick up more snow troopers. What's this? More snow troopers. Just because eventually it'll be nice to see them all together. This looks like an assortment of Jedi and such. So, having said that, I think we're both getting a little burnt out on going through this stuff. This is the New Paltz Youth Center in New Paltz, New York, and all the sounds you're going to hear in the background are kids screaming because they have a lot of foot traffic at the New Paltz Youth Center. I worked here because we're both so good with time.
Yeah, it's from 1995.
There's no way you can pull this
It's
off.
September of 95.
There's no way you can pull that off.
You walked in
That's
the door.
bullshit.
I was putting down the tiles in that room. You walked in the door and you said, "Hello, my name is Mark Bellomo. Are you hiring right now? Is this something where? What do you do here?" We had that conversation, and I said, "I don't know. I just opened up the place. You want to work here?" And it kind of went like that. And you worked here from 95 until, I have no idea. It was like 2000
something.
1 or 2. It's kind of like we kind of consider it a counseling center disguised as a rec center. You know, you get to know the kids on a first name basis, and when stuff comes up in their lives, which when you're a teenager is quite often, they feel comfortable talking to us about what's going on. And then we can help them kind of get through whatever issues they have. Either we help them ourselves, or we, kind of resource them out, or refer them to different agencies that can help them. But at a most fundamental level, it's a place where kids can go when they got nothing else to do. It's a supervised hangout. Certain kids kind of relate better to certain staff members.
I wonder where you're going with this.
And Mark kind of had his own little.
Well, let's describe what you do. Let's describe. Jim, you kind of hang out with everyone, but when Jim hires workers, we'll hire a worker who's good with, athletics and basketball and football, and then you have to hire people who are good with games and computers. And so what was my job?
People who relate, anybody who relates well with people is really the type of person that we would hire in general. Mark was really good, not just relating to everybody. Mark got along with everybody who came here, certainly. But there was a certain type of kid that kind of globbed onto Mark due to his extensive background or knowledge of things in the way of plastic dolls, we'll call them. I think we'll have to call them dolls. So when the kids, when I guess really, Dungeons and Dragons was big way back when, and then kind of became popular again, and so did Magic. That was really the time, I think. It was really Magic, right, that kind of got it going. And some kids were interested in it, and Mark, had a background in it pretty much, and and has a huge collection of everything under the sun that most of us would deem kind of silly, but he appreciates. But anyway, so the kids that were involved in Magic, they kind of made a connection with Mark, and Mark, as a natural leader, would set up tournaments with them, he built his relationships through several kids through that. And these were kids that had a lot of issues. These are kids that had, difficult backgrounds, had families that were
disastrous.
Not always there for them. So they really made a connection through the center, and because of their interests, really made a connection through Mark. And kids just in general want to be a part of something. They always want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to feel like they're a part of something. I mean, that's why kids get involved in gangs.
The problem that I see with youth today is parents, whether one parent or two parents, are working 2 or 3 jobs to get kids everything that they want, instead of giving them what they actually need, which is FaceTime. Read a book to them. Don't buy them a Wii. Read a book to them, or play with them, or have time. And that's, I think, what we provide FaceTime and interaction with adults, and trying to teach things that are useful in the real world.
But programs like this, I think, become more and more important as the years have gone on, because society has changed, where you do have more single-parent homes. You have more, if there are together, they're both working because of the economy's in such a bad state that it is in, and you do have a lot more. The divorce rate is a lot higher, so kids are a lot more latchkey kids. A lot of kids who don't have anywhere to go after school anymore.
Yeah.
Parents aren't watching them. A lot of these kids we've always had the idea. The reason why we set the hours that we did from the get-go was that we closed at 7 because in the school year that's when it kind of got dark. And with the notion that kids are going to go home afterwards because that's what kids typically did. They leave here and they go home. So schools got them during the day, we got them after school, and the parents get them at night. That has changed. Kids leave here now and they go downtown. They walk around. They go. Rarely do parents come and pick up their kids. But that's a whole other subject. But
I was one of those kind of nerdy, disenfranchised youth. I know that's really hard to believe.
I don't see that progression.
But I was one of those disenfranchised kids, and part of me, my mom and dad are always there for me, and were always there for me, but they didn't share similar interests. They didn't know who Snake Eyes was. They didn't know what a stormtrooper was. But
shocking that wouldn't happen.
I know.
And kids in turn appreciate the fact that you have an adult, who's not ridiculously older than them, that you can talk to on a first name basis. They share an interest with.
Well, and you know what it is.
And that's not going to treat you.
You're playing Magic, and you're playing basketball, or you're playing softball, or you're playing double dutch with them, you're playing a video game with them, or a board game, or you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And in the middle of those conversations is when you can, you're playing basketball, and you're like, hey, you screwing up in school?
Yeah.
What's going on? And that gives you the open for trust.
Like right now, you got 3 kids upstairs in the computer lab playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like they're playing it right now. If they weren't playing that, a month ago they were playing RuneScape.
Right.
And these are all interesting things. It keeps them active, it keeps them entertained, but it also keeps them separate from everybody else. My issue with computers and with video games and all this crap that's out now, and even with Wayfinder stuff, is that it does kind of segregate you a little bit from the rest of the community. And that's, like, again, one of the things that I think, we bring to this place has always been, you incorporate a sense of community into what's going on.
Thanksgiving dinner, everyone gets together and sits
your
down.
neighbors, your people, what's going on in the area. There was always more of an element of that here in the past than there is now. So I always worry that it's kind of going in a direction of, isolation. Some of these kids, they come in here at 2 o'clock, they just woke up. Because they were up all night, reading? No, they were up all night playing RuneScape for like 12 hours in a row.
Text messaging.
Or playing, or playing something on Xbox Live on Call of Duty 3 with somebody from China for like 14 hours. And everybody has their own form of entertainment through the years, but sometimes you get, it's that isolation thing that frightens me, and that's why some people are like, this is important, but just that whole element, I think, kind of scares me.
Jim's going to back me up on this. Jim and I have been friends for a long time, and we've talked about stuff like this. When we were growing up, and you were watching television, and you saw the little CBS swirl come on that said CBS like special, and you knew that Rudolph was going to come on. How many kids in the United States were watching that? Every kid. When Wonderful World of Disney was on Sunday nights, every kid watched that who was younger. When the movie of the week was on, every kid watched it. But now, I have DirecTV. How many stations do I get? 1,000?
Right.
Leave It to Beaver in Spanish. I don't talk toys with Jim. I don't talk collectibles with Jim. I never do that.
Well, we could, but I'd be walking around the room.
Jim's a Yankee fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. Jim and there were about 12 people at my house when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. Jim's a Jets fan and was screaming in my face. My friend Adam and his father were there. I cooked food for 2 days. We know each other on a friendship level, but I don't think I've ever asked Jim, what do you think about this toy and comic book stuff that I do? I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's weird, right?
No, I don't think it's that weird.
Excessive?
Well, everybody's got their own thing. I always respect people who are able to. I always talk about how people take pride in what they do, and I always think that's an important element. And anything you do in your life, whether you're the president or a janitor, one thing you used to always point out is that you collect this stuff, but you wouldn't walk into a store and take the, if a Star Wars figure just came out, you wouldn't go and buy all of them just because you're a collector, because then you're not leaving it for the fan or the kid who can only buy one and just wants to go home and play with it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, it wasn't.
Don't take toys from kids.
It wasn't like you're scalping tickets. You know what I mean? Like you're a collector who does it for the sake of collecting. My wife always says, why are you going to buy that DVD? You've seen it already. I'm like, well, the point is, it's a collection. It's something that you have in your possession. There's certain things that you'll probably never sell because it's part of your collection, even if somebody offers you a ton of money for it.
I think that a lot of people get into collecting because, it's an act of role play. It's an act of playing out what's in your mind because you internalize a lot of stuff. It's like, the problem is, action figure sales are down. because of video games and DVDs and computers. You know, why would you want to go out and pay $10 for an action figure, $7.99 for a Star Wars figure, $7.99 for a Star Wars figure, when you can YouTube any video, anything that you want for free, when you can play games online for free. But even in the act of playing with action figures, there's manipulation and role play there. I don't think that exists on a computer or in front of a video game. And we've talked about this a lot. Is every Saturday or almost every Saturday when the JV football team was here, we'd go out and play football with them because, well, it's outside and it's good. And that's something that Jim's always tried to do, is say, go outside. Of the Ultimate Guide to G.I. Joe, 1982 to 1994. I'm currently writing the second edition, so what I wanted to do is appease all the people who have complained, and there are a lot of you. I have heard you. We are reshooting all the vehicle pics for the second edition of the Ultimate Guide. So in order to do that, I had to pillage my 3 or 4 storage areas, storage spaces, bring all my vehicles together in my garage, all my figures together in my house. Over here, what I did was I put some boxed samples of vehicles. G.I. Joe General, there's a Vamp Pail 2-pack, Night Ray, Mudfire Cobra Hiss 2. I opened this myself, and just to tell people, this is the Benny's exclusive. We know it was at other retail stores. Not a 2-pack of, or a 2-part instructions. It had instructions for the Hiss and the Mudfire. But oddly enough, when I look in here, we have a little dog fight, little treat with the dog fight. And who's the Cobra driver? That's right, it's Worms. With his, you can see his little antenna rattling around in there. Looks like they just threw these in here. Dogfight seems to have an assortment number on the back, but the Worms doesn't. Really, really curious packaging job having Worms piloting or driving the Hiss 2. But I did open that myself. I don't know why I brought a Shadowloo headquarters box, other than that's the Street Fighter stuff after the G.I. Joe line was over. And the funny thing is, I've always been fascinated by this box because take a look at the Street Fighter figures. Yeah, you have Ryu and Balrog, and who's they? Never made him into a figure. Hey, they never made Cammy into a figure. They never made a lot of these into figures for the G.I. Joe line. So I always thought this was an interesting kind of variation, because this Fortress is the 1992 headquarters done over again. Might be worthy of a pick in the book, probably isn't. G.I. Joe train set box. We're probably going to set this up. I have one complete. Cobra Missile Command headquarters. When I got this was sealed. Headquarters command center box. Just some vehicles. I know I don't think I put the space capsule in the last book. I wanted to come out here for a couple days and assemble all the vehicles so I can run them into the dining room of my house where we're setting up, and then run them right back out. For reference, when I assemble the vehicles, I have all the vehicle blueprints, Steel Brigade, the rare patch and hat, G.I. Joe, the booklet for the trading cards. I have to organize this stuff tonight. Over here we have the club exclusive kits that you can mail away for. The Sears Missile Command Headquarters little file card holder. The 3 original mailer boxes for Duke, Major Blood, and Cobra Commander. Other random paperwork that needs to be put away. The Mobat battery warning and the turret note, Rampage note. I think we have a Listen and Fun tripwire sitting here, a rapid fire sitting here, target hit and run. I had an extra file card so I could show the back easily. Ultimate Enemies, Tomax and Zamat on their card. Some action packs that I still have to put labels on. I won't take the Battle Gear accessories out of the packs. I have some carded figures here, I hope. Or I did. Yeah, there's a box of carded figures. We have a lot of the mail away forms that need to be organized tonight. There's a flash, rapid deployment force, pocket patrol pack, some prototype sketches of Hama's Fury Force, some Hasbro in-house stuff for Slaughters and Marauders, Hall of Fame and DEF, mail away Sergeant Slaughter, Mission Brazil set, more carded figures. I have some Action Star cereal boxes that I'm going to put together for the shot for the Starduster exclusive. Up here, we have some of the flying vehicles. That's the Alpha for the RC Crossfire. The Delta's kicking around on the other side. Everything in here is complete and assembled, and I don't think I'm missing anything. I even have a little tube for the Alpha. Yes, I do have the little, not viewfinders, what do you call them? The lenses for the searchlights on both of the Moray hydrofoils, or the Night Ray and Moray. Couple Terradromes, just to have one in the back. They're both complete. G.I. Joe headquarters. I have like 3 or 4 of them, and I kit bashed the best possible one. No broken clips. Really mint stickers. G.I. Joe General. Really pristine, because I bought that in a sealed box a few years back. The 82 headquarters, the 92 headquarters here. A couple Fangs. A bunch of different variations of the Manta. Mailer boxed and mint and baggy, and I think we have some Battlefield accessories. We've got the Outpost Defender back there, the Whirlwind, bomb disposal, transportable tactical battle platform. Yes, it is complete with all 5 guns. How do I know? I had them on the sprues and I took them off myself after I took the picture. This is the MBT, couple Jeeps, some Sears stuff, no broken flags on the stun, have an extra one for backup. Variant mail-away pack rats, regular pack rats, variant mail-away pack rats. For some of the mail-away exclusives, if you look very closely, you'll look at the original ones are a lighter color green. The mail-away ones are a much darker color green. I hope that you can get that. But I have a couple extra sets of the remote controls, just in case. The regular version of the Vamp. I had to replace the gun turret recently simply because it was getting a little worn. A couple MMSs. Going down the Armadillo, the Night Force, Triple T, Night Raider, ASP, another Sears exclusive, SMS, Night Force, Slugger, stuff like that. Down here we have a Defiant. I'm going to have to work a little bit on the stickers, I think, tomorrow night. Maybe we'll shoot the Defiant on Sunday, because I'd really like to dust this down and dress it up a little bit better. But those are a couple extra vehicles. I don't know why I have 2 of those extra stupid Ninja Force vehicles. I think I got them because I was missing the blueprints and they were like $5 buy it now. Battle Force 2000 vehicles. Hey, that Future Fortress was something, the way it snapped right together. Sky Patrol Havoc. Oh, a couple Destro vehicles on this table. The Brawler. 2 of the assembled Ninja Force vehicles. The, I don't even want to talk about this. Over here, one of my favorite Joe playsets, the Toxo Lab playset. I know it's silly, I know it looks ridiculous. I have a sealed boxed one somewhere, I don't know where the hell it is. I know if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, all of this is going over your heads. Checkpoint Alpha with the clipboard. I have a backup clipboard just in case. One of the Rams. Shark. Chad and I were just talking about this. If you look on the back of your snake armor, whether blue or white, you'll notice that each snake comes with an insert stand, and 4 attachments for the armor on the arms. There are 2 peg holes on the back of the snake. Guess what goes there? That's right, the extra 2 attachments that it's not using. A bunch of Cobra and Joe white vehicles. I've always liked those. Another Ram. One of the 2 jetpack jumps that I have. One of the few Swamp Fires. I think I have 2 equalizers. Do I have 2 of them? Yeah, I have 2 of these. One of them has a broken antenna. I don't know why I have 2. I think I bought one of these mitten sealed box for I think it was $39.99 2 or 3 years ago. couple assortments. This was a big debacle before the book. I looked at my Python asp that's kicking around, and it is in disastrous shape. Stickers are crappy. Everything about it was crappy. And if you look in the first edition of the Ultimate Guide, guess what? It's missing the blast shields that go on the arm. So, of course, 2 weeks ago, I ordered a mint loose complete Python asp online, and guess what? He threw it in a priority mail flat rate box with newspaper, didn't remove the easily lost pieces, and one of those is chipped. That pisses me off. If you're an eBay seller and you sell G.I. Joe vehicles and you're charging a couple extra bucks for handling on top of shipping, wrap up your vehicles, because it may be going into a person who really takes care of their collection. I wanted to show you, I'm very proud of both of these because they're both in pretty good shape. I wanted to show you the Alpha and the Delta RC Crossfire that Larry Hama on his dossier called Remote Control Joe Vehicle. That's all it was named. The designers named the vehicles. Larry had very little control over them other than to incorporate them into the storyline. So this is the Delta, this is the Alpha. They came with two different RC controls because they operate on different frequencies. But you know, I've always had a few dilemmas with these vehicles because they're so ridiculously fragile. If you look at my Delta, you'll notice that, you know, both of the rear or one of the rear tires is completely broken. So I went out and I grabbed another Delta and I said, wow, look at this. I bought this for $5 at a yard sale. Awesome. These tires are fantastic. And I remember in my original instructions, other than a notation on nickel-cadmium batteries, there's an insert sheet inside the RC Crossfire that says, replacement parts for your Crossfire vehicle, item Crossfire antenna sleeve, which is either this or this because it came with both. This is the hard plastic sleeve and this is the soft, more pliable red sleeve. Crossfire front balloon tires, those jimmies, Crossfire rear balloon tires. So I'm really excited. I thought, all right, why don't I just take the, yeah, they don't come off. I think I need a tool. So it looks like when you see the second edition of the Ultimate Guide and you look at the Crossfire, I'm probably going to have to shoot it from this angle because this tire's blown and this tire's still in good shape. So just, you know, something interesting to know. If someone does know how to fix the rear tires for Crossfire, please, please, please let me know. I noticed that inside the Alpha is, yeah. Motherfucker. Sorry about that. Yep. There they are. There they are. Python Patrol ASP. Blast shields or blast guards. Unbelievable. Does anyone know why I would put them in the RC Crossfire? So not only did I waste like 25 bucks on a Python Patrol ASP with now a broken guard on it, I already had them. But what are you going to do? I guess we'll just put them back in here, put them on the... And that's the problem with having this much G.I. Joe and Star Wars and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos and Battle Beasts and Transformers Generation 1 and Armada and Energon is, I'll say to myself, I have this thing, potato, snow shovel. I'm going to take this and put it here. And then I walk away. And then a year or two later, I'll be playing with here and I'll say, oh, there it is. I think the best course of action is to stop buying new stuff and focus on what I already have, maintaining what I already have. Underneath, the Mean Dog, very weird. The Havoc, that, you know, if you look at the first edition of the book, hey, how about listing the wheel covers as being a separate, easily lost part? Hammerhead, Iron Grenadiers AGP, the Adder, the Rat, the Ice Saber, the Desert Fox. Okay, up top we got some Dreadnought stuff. Dreadnought Air Assault, the variation on the Slugger cannon. Notice no camouflage on it. I don't know where they... That's going to be a problem tomorrow is... I'm not sure where some of the vehicles are. I know they're all set up. There's the regular Slugger way over there on the end on the left. But also, I just bought this beautiful it's the variant red firebat. So I'm gonna come over here, and hopefully I'm gonna have access. I don't know where the access port is, but I don't know what door it's hidden in. What do you think? So here's the difference in color. It's a drastic difference. So this is the variation of the Cobra Wolf. It'll be nice to have that side-by-side comparison. If you'll notice, it has, even in the package, it has black missiles as opposed to the white missiles. And, you know, there are some distinct differences. I think these are a deeper red. Dragonfly variations in cannons. I believe this was the earlier variation. It looks like 3 different body molds, or 2 different body molds that we're working with. If you look at the front here, this body mold is based on, the front of it is based on the Vamp Mark I, and this is confusing for many reasons. We're assuming 1982, 1984, 1984, well, 1984, 1984, 1987, 1986, 1989. So the problem here is, this is the first vamp mold. This first vamp mold of the body looks like what the mail-away vamp has. Okay? The bodies for the Dreadnought, the Stinger, and the release of the Vamp Mark II, the general release of it, share the same body mold, share the later 84 body mold. These are distinctly different. If you look at, of course I'm going to drop it. If you look at the inside, there are, oh, wait a second, there are holes inside the inside the mail-away release. There are little holes inside the tabs, and there are no little holes inside this tabs. The cross-hatching inside on the non-mail-away, on the general release, is thick. On the mail-away, it's thin. So again, no holes, thick cross-hatching on the general release Vamp Mark II. Now, if we move on to the Tiger Force, we'll see that the Tiger Force is exactly the same mold as the mail-away. So we're assuming that this mold for the canvas and the doors was lost, destroyed, not used anymore. So when the mail-away was out, they must have used what was on the Tiger Force, because there are many differences. On the Vamp, if you look at the top of it, it looks like the way that Hasbro wanted to design it was this hatch or this hole is rolled back, okay? And on here it looks like, on the passenger side, it looks like a marking where it could be rolled back if it were in the real world. When we look at the Tiger Sting and the mail-away, there's no rollback mark here at all. So there are differences. Another difference, looking at the top of the missile launchers, these 3 missile launchers, these 2 are the same, and this one is different. So on the general release Vamp Mark II, there are no hatches, 2 little notches on the top that pop out. But on the Tiger Sting and the mail-away Vamp, there are 2 little hatches. And the missiles, we looked at it. Note that the Tiger Sting missiles are not pointed like the other ones as well. They're rounded. The missiles actually sit a little bit deeper in the mail-away. See the lines up here? You know, you've got 1/8 of an inch. This is almost flush on the mail-away. So it's very different. Plus, I'm gonna actually put them down so Chad can take a better look. Maybe better to do it like that. The cross-hatching looks closer on this one. So this may be an entirely different mold. The cross-hatching is closer here, and the cross-hatching, or the pattern that's going across of the vertical lines, is the space between them is a little bit more pronounced on the regular release. So someone must have lost something, or didn't use it again. And this is just, Chad and I walking around looking at stuff. So, for those of you who never think there are any more variants, the diehards know that that's not true. But all it takes is a good eye and being able to compare them one against another. For the diehard collectors, you know that there are probably many more variations. As I mentioned before, the shovel has 2 variations of the steering wheel. So, take your time, look at your stuff, really study it, really examine it. Okay, so before we get to that mess, oh good, there's a Falcon sticker stuck to my glider. Something that we need to notice about these gliders, and this one is beat to hell because they all are. They did come, each of these gliders came with a little rubber band to hold the figure on them. It's a very rare piece. Any of you who played with these and got them for 99 cents at KB Toy and Hobby will know that if you just put this peg in the backpack, it just doesn't work when you fly them. So, remember that you need to find this rubber band in order for it to be complete. It's like the Duke flag sticker for the Duke mail-away. You have a card at Duke, that's fine. He's complete without the flag sticker. If you have a mail-away, and there are distinct differences in the heads as well, you need the flag sticker. Gentle. These stupid pieces of crap. I remember when they discounted, I wish I still had the price tag on mine. I remember when they discounted these at KB toy stores for 99 cents, and they had stacks of them. They just won't sell because they're really crappy toys. Something else about the Falcon. I've always found interesting, and I was shocked when I opened mine up. Here we are in 1983 again. There they are. There they are, folks. The Falcon Glider blueprints. And what? Yeah, that's right. Falcon Glider blueprints came in, I guess, 3 different colors. This may be yellowed, but I don't think so. It looks distinctly different. You will find a good deal of, or 40%, 50% Falcon Glider blueprints will come in a bright green, which is really awkward because I think it's the only one. The Viper Glider didn't come in bright green. It's the only blueprint variation that I believe comes in bright green. Night Striker, Python Conquest. Oh, we got a little Crusader shuttle over here. I've always liked the shuttlecrafts. Skystorm X-Wing Chopper. Around here we have some jets, the 2 dumb water squirters, light projector, Sky Striker. I like to keep the Sky Striker with a couple extra parachutes, other than the 2 that are inside, and an extra seat, so if I need to take parts picks, they're there. The Condor Z25, beautiful. The Stealth Fighter. Still a gorgeous vehicle. I got an email from someone a few years ago that said, why don't you list why don't you list the nose cone as one of the missing pieces? I can't list all the shells and all the parts. When I list parts or missing pieces in my guide, what I list them as is easily lost or easily removable pieces. I know this is a pretty fragile piece to a vehicle, part to a vehicle, but it's pretty noticeable if it's missing. Yeah, I'll list the 2 seat belts and the missiles, but sometimes we have to list the few things that we possibly can. The great tragedy of my collection. Here it is. The Sky Patrol Raven. I can't explain it. It looks like it's been through a war. I bought this mitten sealed box about 6 years ago. I have done absolutely nothing to it. I've kept it in bubble wrap in a box. The same time that I bought this Sky Patrol vehicle. Sorry, Terradrone. The same time I bought this Sky Patrol vehicle. I don't get it. I don't get it. The chrome is still very, very well intact on these, but on that Raven, it just seems to be going. I thought I had the variant top to the Barracuda. I can't find it. Another thing about the Barracuda, I can't take this top off because it takes, it's actually coming off easily. The Barracuda, I don't know if this is an easily lost piece thing, but the Barracuda came with soda tablet pellets, and I ground mine up and put them in there the day that I bought it, a decade ago. It's basically the same pellets or pellet that comes with the Toxolab playset. I wouldn't take it to the extreme that I do with the rubber band on the Falcon and Viper gliders or the Duke flag sticker. Speaking of parts that come with vehicles, greatest G.I. Joe accessory ever. I don't know what these lines are. I mean, is that supposed to be a saddle or something? Why are there lines on it? He looks like a happy dinosaur. He's kind of giddy. That's awful. That's awful. But it's actually a pretty cool vehicle. If you don't own the Dino Hunters playset, you may not notice that the launcher on the Dino Hunters playset is just a 1992 Flak Viper backpack. You can even see the backpack peg on it that's been retooled and refit to become a missile launcher. Really interesting stuff. Everyone who comes into this room, or everyone who has come into this room, the 4 or 5 people, who is a G.I. Joe collector, looks at this sonic boom tank and says, wow, that's really pretty cool. I just wish that, you can say it out loud, the missiles and the cannon weren't that dumb color of yellow. If they could redesign this, I think it would be miraculous. Sky Patrol, Dreadnought, Air Skyhawk, good stuff, the Air Assault Skyhawk. And then, I didn't point out the Shark, but Chad and I were talking, and we always thought that the Shark 9000, man, that's a pretty cool, pretty big vehicle. I'd love to see that. We'd love to see it in Hasbro. Neil, we'd love to see this in Cobra Blue with maybe some Cobra insignias on it. Just all decoed out with maybe a couple Army Builder characters. I don't care. Put Copperhead behind the wheel. Put three eels on it, or Hydro Vipers. Who cares? It's a beautiful mold that Hasbro should reuse if they haven't lost it. A box for Zartan, the Eco Striker. Even if the colors are stupid, I still think it's really, really nice. The Cobra Invader. Enough said. These are really catching steam lately. The Gears and Techno Viper battle suits. And if you don't own them, you might not notice it actually says Gears and Techno Viper on the Power Fighters right in the middle of them. I will not picture this kickstand as a loose, easily removable part in my book. Would you like to know why? Because I'd have to take it off to list it as an easily removable part, and I'm not going to break it. So, hey, this is an easily removable part. It's an easily lost part. Don't lose it, folks. Just like the saddlebags, the seat does come off, just like the tip here. Cobra Battle Barge, the regular version, the variation is here somewhere with the white stickers. Avalanche, beautiful vehicle. Regular Locust, septic tank. Blockbuster, which is not bad for a 1994 vehicle. Big, dumb, foam darts. And the Armor Bot, a sad story. He's fine, don't worry. 2 of the cooler play sets, Rolling Thunder, Thunderclap, great vehicle. You'll see the bombs in the book. The greatest G.I. Joe missiles ever made with other tiny little missiles inside it. Cobra Bug, again, everything here is mint loose complete. And if there are removable accessories, I saved them. Tiger Rat with the, battle damage panels. I think we have a little bit of a Canadian flag on that Tiger Rat too. Good stuff. Support Canada. Oh, a really dumb plane, the Fang 2. Devilfish Act to make a change on the Ultimate Guide. These are easily removable parts and must be noted as such on this and on the Tigerfish. Imp, Battlefield Robot Devastator, Piranha, Overlord's Dictator. Beautiful helicopter, the Tomahawk. Firefly, Patchy, Hurricane, Mamba. I'm not even going to mention that because that is too hideous for description. Shame on you, Hasbro. Shame on you after 1991. A lot of stuff. I know you guys are probably bored with my talking. So other than setting up the vehicles in the garage, I also wanted to set up all the figures from the original G.I. Joe line. It was a pain in the butt because I had to double check everything and make sure all the weapons and accessories were a problem. I was looking at Flint's backpack yesterday, and I realized, oh my god, that's a Battlefield accessory pack, and then I realized, no, that's just Footloose's backpack on Flint, and Flint's backpack was on Footloose. You know, if you look at the 82, 83, 84s, the problem is, you know, they're really military, olive drab, pretty cool, blowtorch stands out. Then you move over here and all you see is neon and huge missile launchers and awfulness. You know, this is when the line started to decline. Here we are, bright and early, went to bed at 4 in the morning, up at 7, shooting on the first day. The start of a very long but very good experience, hopefully. And as soon as we start rolling, it's going to be a bang, 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 do the picture, take the picture. We decided we are going to put the vehicle drivers next to the vehicles. That'll be a lot easier, for reference's sake, for people who buy the book. So, here we go, taking photos. Good stuff. Oh, this is Chris. Chris is taking the photos. Because she's talented, and I suck at taking photos. If you have the first edition of the Ultimate Guide, you know that. Point and shoot, use the flash. Very, very bad. Very bad. Did that come with figures? Did the Vamp Hell come with figures?
You're asking me?
Did the Vamp Hell come with figures, audience?
You wrote the damn book.
Easy. Easy. No, apparently not. Huh. Look at that. Stunning. A little bit. Of course. Almost lost the blaster there. That's pretty fragile. Oh, jump. Let's do this first. What do you think? I like that. I don't think that's bad. It's a good idea, Chad. Thank you. That's why you're good at what you do. Doing this is like waiting online for a ride at Disney World. Yeah. But it's like the teacups, not Space Mountain. You know, nobody likes the teacups. What do you think? Does it look a little off?
He's a little tippy. And I think I'm a little tippy.
He's probably drunk, this bastard. I think we'll shoot Sky Striker next. It's a combat jet. XP-14F. That's another thing I'm going to put in the book is I've done some research on the X-planes that the military use. So the Firebat is actually based off military design for a plane. A lot of the more outre, as the French say, planes that G.I. Joe had in the line from 82 to 94 were based off the X series, X1 through X29, or I think they may be up to 32 now. So hold on one second. Like problems.
Do you want me straight over the top?
However you want to do it.
Or
Angled straight over the top doesn't make a difference to me. Now, what was his name again?
Who's that?
Stinky, the figure in there.
Stinky came with the
Stinky with
Sky
Sky
Striker.
Striker. Maybe that's the Fun School version, came with Stinky. And of course, Wildface with the Snapdragon. G.I. Joe collectors, this is not a Flash Hawk short fuse head sculpt. This is an all new head sculpt. You can tell by his hair and the expression in his nose is different. It's not the same as Deep Six's either. The Ace figure, the Deep Six figure, and Hawk short fuse Flash, except for those three. There are 3 different figure sculpts. Combat Jet Sky Striker. Now that's Jasper with a Stingray, right, Chad?
can you cheat and
Can you do that?
put something in there?
How's that? One of my all-time favorite Cobra vehicles, the Cobra Puppy. Yeah, always look at the camera. Love. Yeah, Chris, I have like 10 pages of notes, so I just want to double check to make sure.
Yeah.
I do want to shoot the keel hull patch and no patch variation. It says here smoking's bad for you. It's, AMA report. Blah blah blah. Bling bling. Do you want to do figures and then the pterodrome?
Yeah, I guess because they're already out, might as well do it.
Wait, I'm gonna do another shot just to
Sorry about
be
that.
focused.
Yeah, really probably screwed everything up.
No, just take one more shot. No problem.
Don't forget the AVAC.
No, I won't. It has to go. That fire dies. Did you put that in? I hope?
The Leprechaun did, I think.
Oh, that's good because that's the better one. I should put the ports down, right? Or do you want to do some shots of inside? I think we probably should.
Probably do shots of inside, but also can you match the two turrets? Like you get one pointed up, one pointed down. It's all in the details, right?
So that's the best that they're gonna do. Absolutely. So here we are in day one of shooting or reshooting vehicle pictures for the second edition of the Ultimate Guide. And as you can see by the clock, it's 9:50, and photographer Chris and Chad and I started at 8 o'clock this morning, so we were doing this for about 13 and a half hours, 13 hours, almost 14 now. So we're only on 1988, but we're finishing 1988 with a Night Force display, as we're trying to finish every year with a glory shot of the more popular or rarer figures and vehicles. So I'm going to put some Night Force figures around here, and I'm going to put some single carded figures around here, and we're alternating Joe Cobra, or trying to alternate Joe Cobra, Joe Cobra, Joe Cobra. But yeah, it's been a nice long day, full of very limited eating and lots of standing around and running to the garage. At the end of about a 15-hour day, probably more than that now, I'm sitting back. It's kind of overwhelming. It's like it feels like being in Walmart for like 12 hours. The bright lights and the flashes and the color from the G.I. Joe figures and the vehicles. I feel kind of oversensitized and overstimulated right now. But there's a moment whenever I write one of these books, and it happened last 2 summers ago. Was it 2 summers ago already? Or last summer with the Transformers book, where I bought a bunch of reproduction labels from Delta Star at Repro Labels, and I was taking Goo Gone and I was wiping down each individual transformer and I was applying the stickers, and then I got to the combiner teams and I kept, Menasor, Defensor, Devastator. And there's a point when you look at these and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I picked up Wildcard today, the driver of the Mean Dog, and I looked at him with his open shirt and that stupid swashbuckling knife, and I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Here we are on the morning, the second day of shooting for the Ultimate Guide to G.I. Joe 1982 to 1994. Not quite awake yet, didn't have coffee, had water instead. Not good. But, we set up the 89 vehicles last night, so hopefully for a little while it'll be point and shoot. It also helps that we know kind of what we're doing now. So, this should be a little bit easier. That's payload V2. What up, payload?
Hold up.
Yes, yes.
Is that angle what you want?
Yep, that's exactly. It shows everything that I want. It's perfect. When we were assembling the thunderclap, I of course put the cannon in the wrong way, and since we're all checking the blueprints, even after we shot all the photos, we have to reshoot it because I know that inevitably, if I put a vehicle together incorrectly, just like with mistransforming a transformer, that I'm going to get an email or a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning from a collector who says, I've noticed that you have put your thunderclap in incorrectly. So I've sent you 25 detailed pics of how it should be correctly photographed. I've also sent some very rare French variations on the three-pronged missile rack in the front with little fleur-de-lis stickers on them. So if you could kindly include them in your book, I would appreciate it. I'm exaggerating to make a point, of course, but I've gotten stuff like that before. So, here he comes. I'm sure I'm going to break something in the transfer. Better right or left for the master shot, do you think, Chris?
Let's do the right.
Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Looking good. When I was a kid growing up, the first thing that I did was when I walked into a Kmart or a Caldors or a Grant's, Grant's wasn't even around, or an Ames, I'd walk in and I'd get a G.I. Joe carded action figure. And when the new ones are out, you flip over the back and you look at all the pictures of the new characters. So I got excited. I'm like, okay, check mark, I got him this week. All right, I got paid for my paper route. I got these 3 figures. But I don't think Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander, Grunt, there were 6 of those figures that were never pictured on the back of cards for that year. And I don't think they were in that year's catalog either. So when they showed up at retail, I was kind of shocked. Blah, bling, bling, blah, yeah. Good stuff. People label the holy grail of the G.I. Joe line to be the USS Flag playset, but I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Defiant, particularly this structure right there, the way the shuttlecraft docks on the booster, and the way the airlock opens into the booster, so you can actually transport figures when that's completely open. It's amazing. It's an amazing piece of engineering, and Hasbro should be commended. We'll never see anything like this for the 3 3/4 inch line again.
Now, is that all you need on that? Or?
That's all I needed from that shot. And then we're gonna take the shuttlecraft off the top, put down the landing gear, and we have to open the little shuttle itself for one more shot. We've set up the USS Flag for a glory shot, and you know, I thought coming out here, I was nervous. We've had thunderstorms lately. I thought coming out here that exactly what you need for photography is the brightest light possible. Well, I know Chris will back me up. It's controlled light, and this is uncontrollable blazing light. That's hard to remove cast shadows from. So we're really trying, and all my poor Joes are out in bright sunlight. But I don't think it'll affect them for one day. I chose these G.I. Joe characters based on them being iconic characters, with the exception of General Flag. But you kind of have to stick it in there. Duke giving the Yo-Joe sign, even though I abhor the Yo-Joe sign. I wanted to put that in there for the collectors. I'm a comic book guy, not a cartoon guy. So, you know, I tried to put as many iconic, recognizable characters from both the cartoon and the comic book in there. Oh, that's perfect.
What I might do is I'll take the top from the other shot.
Yep.
And this edge
That's
green.
perfect. Wow. I'm just not looking forward to these figures. We've got like 100 figures coming up. But it should be an easy handoff and snap. So we just finished the glory shot for 1993. All we have left is the short 1994 year. I think there's 5 or 6 vehicles and maybe 20 figures, 30 figures. But we do have to do the figures for 1993, which is about 100. But I've been setting them up behind the screen as they've been taking photos and shots of the 93 figures. So we have to do 93 action figures, all of them, all the mailaways and stuff. I like that shot.
Okay. So, are they centered enough, or do they have to shift?
No, I think they're centered enough. Here we are. I think we spent a good 2 solid hours on the cover. We did some back cover shots. Now we're doing front cover shots. We have been for a while, so we're trying to make it as iconic as possible. I'll do it.
Yeah, just move them over here for now, and I'm going to do a couple without them. Okay, and then we'll set them up and do them alone.
Yeah, we need, that's a brand new O-ring in Duke. Duke will not stand something about top heavy, back heavy. So Duke's been a problem. Get a little punchy, get a little tired.
And a little bit. Oh, that's good. That's good.
What would you like me to do with Cobra Commander?
He needs to go a little closer to Duke.
Throw him out the window? I can't do that. Oh man.
And towards the lens here. Yeah.
I'm gonna take my rifle upstairs and I'm gonna blow Duke up.
As long as it's Duke and not me. Can I have my card?
Yes, of course.
Alright.
You can eat this stuff, right?
At this point, I probably would eat it. I'd eat the ice cream soldier right now if I had
Well,
to.
at least we didn't start at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, what is it? 10:14. Oh, did I mention earlier? We didn't get it. Did we get a shot of what the temperature was when we were setting
no.
up the USS Flag?
Yeah, talk about that.
It was this many. 95 degrees outside when we were shooting the flag. It's been overcast and rainy all week long. The second I dragged the damn flag out on that damn old mattress, 95 degrees. You know, I've often heard of stories, and I get this a lot, once every 4 or 5 months when a guy that I first meet sees my collection, we talk about my collection, he says to me, you know what I used to do with my G.I. Joe figures? I used to put them in a vise. My favorite is, I used to tie M80s to them and blow them up. Guess what I'm thinking about right now? Here we are with Duke again. Hello, lover. I missed just you. Oh, you son of a bitch. There we go.
Okay, he's gonna go left and toward the lens.
I'm definitely gonna sleep very well tonight. I'm officially sick of G.I. Joe. I need to take probably 2 days not to talk about it or think about it, or dream about it. I'm sure I'll be haunted by that Duke for the rest of my life. If there's ever anything that's gonna go first, it's this stuff. Even though I like Alex Ross's designs, I can't see including them in any. You're not gonna include these in a vintage figure catalog, even though they are beautiful. And some of the earlier boxed Kingdom Come and earlier boxed Justice figures are worth quite a bit of money, particularly the more iconic characters. This stuff has to go. These are the repackages of them, and I picked up 2 or 3 each, just because if there's a kid who likes Alex Ross, I can always give him a couple of these figures and they'll be happy. Battle Armor He-Man, Battle Armor Skeletor. I have the originals, as I said, at home. Here's the thing: sometimes I'll spend a lot of time packing these boxes so that I can maximize how much I can fit inside. And sometimes I just throw them in there. I know for a lot of action figure collectors this is kind of a travesty, but I really don't have that much time. If you look at the edges of my comic boxes, it's really funny. I think we got our cat, Boo Boo Kitty. I named him Stink Butt after an episode of News Radio that I laughed out loud at, but he's been known now as Boo Boo Kitty after the Laverne and Shirley television show in the 80s. He's a pretty good cat. He doesn't scratch anything. He doesn't claw anything. The only thing that he tears up in the entire house is he'll plant his butt on the ground and start clawing at the comic boxes with his claws. But what I do is before I bring them here, I'll put a backer board in between this, the outside, and the first comic, because the backer board, he doesn't actually dig into the box itself, but it provides enough of a protection. The comics in this storage space are on the ground, too deep, all the way to the back of the storage space. So they all need to be moved out of here. I think I'm going to get rid of a good deal of my comic books, because I think I have. If you think of a major superhero, if you think of a major comic book superhero, Captain America, Iron Man, Batman, I think I have every issue of those books from this current month all the way back to at least 1967, 1966, straight back in full runs. When I understand Captain America and Iron Man and the Hulk, they were in split books for a while in the early Silver Age, but and I have those too. But the comic books I very rarely go back to, so it's time to get rid of those first, because I'm not writing books on them and they're serving no useful purpose. As I'm putting the new G.I. Joe stuff and trying not to vomit on the boxes because I'm sick of G.I. Joe, and some of the new Star Wars stuff, I don't think that stuff's really interesting. Some of this stuff is. I showed you the Battle Beasts the first time that we were here, and this is one of their battle station or battle play sets. That's a shark. Sometimes I piss myself off because I'll just throw stuff in bags. Like, hey, there's a Mitten and Baggy Superpowers Flash and 3 Strawberry Shortcake outfits. What? Pony. Saddle. I shouldn't know this. Brush for the pony. Seat for the figures. I have to explain to my friends why I have strawberry shortcake stuff. And I tell them it's because strawberry shortcake actually predates G.I. Joe, Transformers, and He-Man. Strawberry shortcake was an officially licensed action figure line from American Greetings, and they're pretty cool for what they are. There's the Flutter Bee. I'm not going to put it together, of course. Purple Pie Man. There he is. Ooh, Sour Grapes with Dreg the Snake. I have about another 20 or 25 strawberry shortcake figures. But, you know, I think they're interesting. I always try and include as many of these toys as possible. This is another piece in my collection that I really enjoy. If we can get to it. There's a couple Robotech figures in there. It's a Veritech fighter from Robotech. Really interesting because it doesn't transform. There are some things on it that transform, but it's, you know, the Jetfire was based off the Valkyrie from the Robotech line. Some of the early versions of Jetfire actually have Robotech stickers on them, and I can show it to you. But it even has the head of the robot, but this doesn't transform because it's meant to fit the Robotech figures. And this one is mint loose complete. To write about toys in an intelligent way, you have to actually own them and touch them, and there's a certain amount of ownership about it. So the one figure that we would demand, well, Playmates to make, which they never will, the Scoutmaster figure based on Paul Lynn. Was Paul Lynn Match Game or Tic-Tac-Toe? I think he was Match Game, wherein the ascot very funny. But great figures, great sculpts. I think these were the first, Playmates was the first company to really translate toys or cartoons to toys very, very well. Then I'll just have boxes and boxes. You know, why would I have the Star Wars trilogy on VHS? Well, probably because Han Solo shot first. George Lucas, Han Solo shot first. And then I have the one that I had when I was a kid, so I can replace it. Even though I don't even think I have a VHS player. Then I'll throw, you know, vehicles into a box. Republic gunship. Had to get the previews exclusive Death Star briefing room. Sweet. Awesome. It's like the Bounty Hunter pack. And if I do a Star Wars book one day, I'd just like to have a couple of these AT-ATs in the background. When the Amazing Spider-Man line was out, I didn't buy, you know, when DC Direct and when Toy Biz keep making Spider-Man in green outfit, Spider-Man in chartreuse outfit, Spider-Man in periwinkle outfit, Batman in burnt umber outfit, it gets on my fucking nerves. But what we as collectors have to understand is that for many, many years, and even to this day, we only make up 12, maybe 15% of the action figure market. So when you complain about particularly those Justice League 3-packs, Superman, Batman, and Etrigan the Demon, you know, when they keep repeating Wonder Woman, Superman, The Flash, Green Lantern, it's because we are not their target market. Their target market is still kids. So when you look at the Amazing Spider-Man line, just on the back of this package, everyone wants the Electro because he's a short-packed villain, and then there's Quick Change Spider-Man, Web Climbing Spider-Man, and Sneak Attack Spider-Man. You're going to get more because this is what the kids want. And they make the Electro to appease fans. That's why when you look at some of these figures, some of these Toy Biz Marvel figures, it's always the villains that are going to be worth more. For instance, in the Fantastic Four line, what a gorgeous figure. What a beautiful figure. The Dragon Man and the Kang are worth, you know, $100 now, what, $125, $150? Even though Johnny Storm, the Invisible Woman, and Twist and Slam Thing were in this assortment, these are short packed, these are hard to find, but you have to come to that understanding that even though they may be figures that you want, we are not the target market. The market is for kids. And I mentioned this before, try not to. If there's only one of a figure left on the pegs, allow a kid to collect them all. Allow a kid to come in and buy it if they want. Because when you take toys out of kids' hands, Now that's one thing I've never done. When we were at Joe's yesterday, I was looking at the Yoda with Kaibuck figure. Even though it was re-released on the Legacy Collection card back in 2008, I didn't have it from the previous year, from the 2007 collection. Unfortunately, a kid wanted it, so even though I had picked out the figure for myself, give it to the kid. Do you know why? Because that's a future collector, and that'll traumatize him and keep him away from toys. Hey, look what we have here. I think we have vintage Transformers. Oh. Had I the time or inclination. Actually, some of these are reissues. Had I the time or inclination, if you're a Transformers fan, if you're a Transformers fan, I recommend that you buy this. This is the most beautiful playset ever made for Transformers. These are Dinobots. That's Grimlock in scale to this. Soundwave, look how big this playset, and there's a landing ramp. Warren, a puzzle maker, made this playset, and I had to get the original instructions, but this was unassembled when I got it. These kind of just fell off of it. But this, to scale, is just a beautiful backdrop. I think when I do the second edition of the Transformers, when I have time for more glory shots, I am going to include this. Look at the size of that Mamma Jamma. That's beautiful. I've always found it odd that they never re-released this figure for Sideshow yet, for the 12-inch figures. But this is one of, in my opinion, Hasbro's, I'm not going to sound, Hasbro's crowning achievements for their 12-inch line. This General Grievous figure, folks, if you don't have him, go out and get him. I know he's quite expensive on the secondary market now, relative to Shaq T and the other 12-inch figures, which are in here. Is that? I think that's Shaq T. I like to buy all of the Jedi Starfighters as well, because one day I have a dream of finishing my attic in my house and being able to display stuff. We already looked at the Tidarium shuttle. Oh no.
It pains me when you throw those things.
It'll be fun. This is just deep in Star Wars figures. I have probably 30 boxes full of Star Wars all the way down, all the way back. Uh-oh. There's something rattling around in here. As you know, some of these earlier lightsabers, don't worry about it, it's just one of those to slice open action figure packages. It pains me when I hear rattling around, but that's okay. Some of these earlier lightsabers are worth quite a bit. And I just have a Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in this box. And had to get the 12-inch Aura Sing. Now we're getting into vintage G1 Transformers. When I did a book signing at the International Book Expo, in order to encourage people to come over to my table and get free books signed, I set up some Transformers over there. Skylynx, Jetfire, maybe this is the Jetfire with the variant wings. Yes, look at that. I have 3 sealed Jetfires, or this is a Mitten Box Jetfire. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? That's a Robotech insignia on a Transformers piece. It's the earlier variants all have this. So, you know, I've always found it fascinating, the merging of the lines. And there's a story behind this where, because I think it was, I want to say Bandai, that owned the Robotech license, if you look at Jetfire in the Transformers cartoon, he looks nothing like this. They had to rename him, call him Skyfire, and give him a completely different alternate mode because they couldn't use the Valkyrie model on television because Bandai still owned the license. Did we already see Smurfs? I don't think we saw the playsets, did we?
Nope.
Pop-up Smurf playset. Another pop-up Smurf playset. Smurfette's bedroom. What?
Hello.
What? With a mirror, huh? With a mirror, huh? Good stuff.
I thought she kept that above her bed.
She did keep it above her bed. What are you gonna do? A couple houses. Oh, my favorite. Gargamel's Lab playset. Holy crap. And then I have, you know, a bunch of the Schley Smurfs that I wanted to get, just to have them when I write my Smurf articles. If you'll notice, the more deluxe Smurfs were boxed. These are more recent play sets by Schley, but when Peyo imported Smurf stuff to the United States in, let's say 1979 to 1983, a lot of the Super Smurfs were boxed, Smurf in a boat, more of the deluxe ones, any Smurf that actually came with movable or removable accessories. This is my favorite. I love the prize Smurfs, or the present Smurfs. Let's see what else we got. A lot of people are going to wonder why I'm not showing a lot of this stuff, and that's because this is the newer G.I. Joe stuff, and I just don't want to touch newer G.I. Joe stuff. So, I'll just do a little flippy flip to show you what we got. A lot of the dumb new G.I. Joe vehicle sculpts, and those are thick all the way down to the bottom there. Crimson Attack Copter, some of the 12-inch figures. Oh, sadly, Palisades went out of business. Every time I was a kid, and I watched the Muppet Show, when I would hear that chant, "Pigs in space," I lost my mind. This one comes with, I believe this comes with a Miss Piggy figure. You can see her rattling around in there. But I did write an article on this, so a lot of times what I do when I write an article is, I'll cut the box open, I'll take out all the pieces, I'll display them, and then I'll put everything back, maybe not in its exact position as you can see, but this is mint loose complete. And I do have all the other figures in there. So I thought that's just a fun place, and you can get a better view of it there. Let's see what's in here. Oh, this is G1 Transformers. Deep. I put the reissues on top because I needed to put them somewhere. Oh look, another Hound, another Soundwave. What the hell. It's always fun to transform these. Even the brilliantly colored Headmasters. I've always liked them. And as you can tell, a lot of these are worth quite a bit of money these days. Transformers. But I think that was part of the fun with writing that Transformers book is I'm really more of a G.I. Joe fan than a Transformers fan. But once I started getting into it and trying to complete it, even the Action Masters, the later ones, seemed appealing. So, there's a lot of stuff in here. It's an original Soundwave in box with Buzzsaw. Hello. Great pictures on the back. I know it's beat up, but it's still an original box. Let's investigate. This should be some weird and unusual stuff. Hey, what do you know? I was right. I have whatever. I don't know why I got that, but there's some really, really old stickers, circa 1978. Some old superhero stickers. A couple extra Dewback and Sand Trooper, Ronto and Jawa, OP and Qui-Gon Jinn. The variant edition of the Salesman with tattoos from the Family Guy. I don't know why I have Teen Titans toys. Robin and the T-Cycle and Turbomobile, Cyborg, T-Cycle and Turbomobile. If I have the time and the inclination, I recently, when I'm doing my writing and my collecting and cataloging, I always put television shows on in the background. So I've been slowly watching every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation because it's one thing to own the figure. Ooh, Dixon Hill. It's one thing to own the figure, but I think it's another thing entirely to know where it fits in the canon. And for the uninitiated, the canon is the television show, sometimes the books, but you want to know what these characters are and what they do. Worf in Starfleet Rescue uniform. This is just a random Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure that I have in here. I have sealed about 4 or 5 sealed cases of these at home, plus a lot of the sewer playset stuff. because they have to be included in the new 80s toy book, because, you know, you're talking about, what are we talking about? This came out in 1990, 1989. They began around that time. Little by little, I'm getting into the Ghostbusters. You want to get a Peter Venkman with tooth ghosts, slimed heroes. Who are you gonna call, indeed? My Secret Wars collection sucks. Honestly, a lot of stuff needs to be done because this will go in the 80s book, so I'm going to have to find a lot of loose samples. But, you know, over the years I've managed to find, you know, Wolverine with silver claws, Wolverine with black claws, black costume Spider-Man, a Kang, a Dr. Doom sample that needs help. But it's still a carded sample. It'll still hold up. I'm getting to the point where I'm just like throwing stuff. But, you know, just VHS tapes kicking around. I've always liked Boromir. I didn't like the way he's portrayed in the films. But, I mean, look at those accessories. They are just beautiful. Really well made. You know, the Horn of Gondor, just gorgeous. Boromir's sword. The bow, the sheaths. They actually used real leather around his quiver. Just beautiful. Design on the bow. Really, really well done. And these figures, I had to add to my collection. I probably have a few more of them. Why not? If I find discounts at some of these stores, Uncle Sam DC Direct figure, if I find discounts at some of these stores, I'll buy multiples. So you'll see a multiple of Greedo and a multiple of Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot, and let's see, a multiple of Sand People. These are just beautiful. These Saga Collection vintage figures are amazing. Oh, let's see, a couple Biker Scouts. Should have gotten 4 Biker Scouts instead of 4 Han Solos. Or 2 Han Solos. Gotta have the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. You know, why not? Let's see what it says on the box. Do not use as a suppository, as egg substitute for Easter events, in combination with the Holy Flamethrower of Bethlehem. Instructions: to use, squeeze. No, not that, you perv. The grenade. Really interesting stuff. I loved what Toy Vault did with these stuffed animals, and I have tons of them all over the place. And then, as I said before, I like to get one of each of the Jedi Starfighters, just to have them. Let's play a game called, what the hell's in here? Oh, these are the Mattel DC Superheroes line. I don't know what it is, I just can't seem to get into them. If I already have 3 versions of Superman from DC Direct, do I really need a 4th Superman? Well, apparently I did need a 4th Superman. Simpsons play sets. One of my favorite scenes in The Simpsons is when Homer answers the phone and, hello? Can I speak to Marge, please? Who is this? Can I speak to Marge, please? Is this her sister? Marge, please. Great. Always picked up the DC Direct Bugs Bunny. They are unbelievably fantastic. Coyote and Roadrunner. Bugs versus a Gas House Gorilla. Just freaking stunning. Oh, hey, this is a really good box. You know, I don't know why I don't sequester these. I mean, this is a box or a bag full of, you know, Smurfs. You know, there's about 10 or 15 of them in there. The reissue of Jinrai, Ferengi. Looks like a couple Ferengi in here. Always good to troop build, folks. Reissued 6-shot Jinrai. And I wish I knew where all those other Thundercats were. And that's the thing, when I buy these things, I'll just kind of put them aside. Mumra as Mummy. Regular Mumra. What's that? What do you think those are? I have no idea. These might be, they're not Orko coins. I don't know what those are. So we're going to put those to the side, look them up and identify them. Vulture Man, Tuska Warrior, slide. I wanted to have a representative sample of Thundercats for when I do that 80s book once again. Oh, we got a loose Sigma 6 figure. Not bad. I mean, you know, there's an anime feel to them, but I think that they were fairly successful. You expect, you know what? This is for you, Chad. How can you not buy a Terrence and Phillip combo 2-pack for South Park? I won't mock their voices. Getting back to Sigma 6, though, what people don't realize, we're so accustomed to Star Wars and Transformers and G.I. Joe. What collectors don't realize is that most toy lines should only have a shelf life of about 3 years. That's considered a successful toy line. If it evolves past that, like Mask did for 4 years, or Star Wars for 30 plus years, or G.I. Joe for now we're going on 25 or 26 years, it's a very successful toy line. But those are aberrations. That doesn't happen very often. I'll pick up busts sometimes. Battlestar Galactica, Cylon Raider, the original. That's a beautiful figure. I wanted to get 2 or 3 of them, but they only had 1 in at the time. There's a Commander Adama, an original Commander Adama in here. Another Banthan Tusken Raider. Hey, look, it's another Sentinel robot. A couple Marvel Legends box sets. But again, I really try and get as many of these troop builders as possible because you can't just have one Bantha. You want a couple of them. The Tick Steel box. What a fascinating toy. It's got like spikes and mallets and some Conan figures, another Alien vs. Predator playset, more Conan figures. Got to get a second Super Battle Droid. Why not? Why not? What do you want me to say? More sealed figures, more sealed DC Direct figures. Anyone? Why would I ever have that?
A McFlurry maker.
It's a McFlurry maker. You can make McFlurries at home. Still in the box.
Where would you have gotten that?
I don't know. God. I don't know how they got the license to do that. Here's an original Pee Wee Herman. And that will be included. I need the play set, but I have about 4 or 5 of the figures. I have Cowboy Curtis, King of Cartoons, Miss Yvonne, and Pee Wee now mint on card. I also have the Magic Screen and Globey and Randy. So I'm going to try and finish this because there definitely needs to be a 3 or 4 page spread on Pee Wee with the Playhouse. And the Playhouse is about $125 piece. Everything included. I couldn't remember where I got this stuff. All I know is I guess I've been doing this for 25 years. Has to be about 25 years. And I never got rid of anything. I kept absolutely everything. This will be a quick one. Masters of the Universe. When I find Troop Builder figures, I'll buy 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I think I got these for $2 each. I can always give them to a buddy of mine who customizes action figures. Marvel Legends, X-Men figures, DC and DC Direct. Greased Up Deaf Guy, Mick Griffin, when Brian was addicted to cocaine, on Family Guy. Why would I possibly have a full set of Justice League figurines in a snap-together playset? Serenity, you want to have like 3 or 4 Reaver figures. When I did an article on Serenity, I wanted to have 3 or 4 of them just kind of hanging out. That's my boo-boo kitty, look at that. Bad kitty, bad kitty. But if that's all that he does, that's fine. These are more loose Marvel Legends in this box. Dragon Ball Z, X-Men Evolution. Oh, that's signed, isn't it, by Peter Mayhew? That's interesting.
Cool.
I guess. Probably should be somewhere else besides a...
It's a shitty sculpt, but still.
Oh, certificate of authenticity. Chewbacca action figure photo autographed by Peter Mayhew. Well, who knew that we had it? This is very light. Oh, this is just an odd assortment of Red X Robin, Dive Action Aqualad, Master of Games, an odd assortment of Teen Titans, the buildable Teen Titans action figures. Gotta have an Arrow Action Speedy. For those of you who are comic book fans know. Poor Speedy, addicted to smack. What are you gonna do? But that's only in the comic, kids. Vintage Transformers. Solid. That's what this is. This is all vintage Transformers. This is Marvel Selects. Or, sorry, Marvel Legends. Oh, my favorite. Oh, look at that.
Oh, nice.
That is just beautiful. Amazing. You know, the Acme flight suit. Good stuff. Oh, gotta have the furry, stupid Chewbacca. Always gotta have the furry Chewbacca. Everybody loves furry Chewbacca. An extra Jawa. I think I got 4 or 5 of these just in case. There's another Jawa. What the hell is this? What do you think all these little boxes are? Oh, these are mail away Storm Shadows. It looks like I got about 15 of them in there. So, Lord knows why. When you've got 1,000 flag points, I guess you just get stuff. I should really go through. I don't know. Chad just asked
Why
me.
do you have 15 of those?
I don't know, because some people didn't mail away, and I could always give them away, and I don't know. I think I have too much stuff. It may not be manageable anymore. Oh yeah, this should be in here. There's another Mitten box, Jetfire, but this is a much nicer box. I think I probably just threw this in here for posterity's sake. Just chucking it around. Aztec, the Ultimate Man, some of the older Toy Biz Spider-Man stuff. Looks like there are doubles in here too. Yeah, that was. There's a Storm Shadow Red Ninja and Snake Eyes pack. Oh, they were discounted at KB for like $3 or $4 each. Another Serpentor pack, Firefly Scrap Iron. I don't know. Extra battle droids. You can never have too many battle droids. I probably have a good 100, 150 of those stupid things by now. More battle droids. More battle droids. Lots of battle droids. These are a lot of troop builders. I have a few A-Wings, another Imperial officer. I have a lot of the older Star Wars stuff at home. The Transporter playset is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. The Morian Guard, more Justice figures. Another Tusken Raider figure, 12-inch. Regiment de Marche de la Légion Étrangère, RMLA. French soldier. I know I have a bunch of X-Files 12-inch from Sideshow. Of course, I'm going to show you the worst one. John Doggett. Not that he's a bad actor. I like Patrick, but Robert Patrick does not an X-Files make. Just, what? These are all troop builders.
Shit.
These are all troop builders. Yeah, these are all mostly troops. A bunch of clone pilots, a bunch of super articulated clone troopers. Grandpa's Sunday Best, Super Nintendo Chalmers, Daredevil Bart, oh, Lionel Hutz, Phil Hartman, damn you, why did you have to die, ruin television by dying, it was brilliant. Maybe 12-inch G.I. Joe figures? 12-inch G.I. Joe figures. Some Harry Potter stuff in the bottom of this. Ilsa and my man Bogey for Casablanca, just because it's the greatest movie ever made. Wartime Madonna. Rugged, tough guy. The guy who, one of the 3 men who wrote the screenplay is local. So hopefully I'll get an interview from him one day and write an article on Casablanca. Sports action figures. This is an extra Ice Saber. Jack's 2004 Toy Fair, 1 of 100 Mucha Lucha action figures. I don't know why I would have it. These are the Marvel Selects action figures, Green Goblin and Peter Parker from the great John Romita Jr. shop. Ghost Rider. I think that looks like Ultimate Spider-Man. Brood and Skull. A Metacom toy, super articulated movie Spider-Man figure from Spider-Man 3. And another box set for Young Avengers. More Star Wars figures. I like to have troop builders, so I have a bunch of Clone Trooper 3 packs going in here. I have a lot of Clone Troopers, I think. A lot of Trooper figures, except for General Veers. There's some Snow Troopers in there. Another Han Solo and Carbonite. Dr. Seuss bookends, because I have friends with kids. Herculoids. I have the 3 sets for this. Really, really nice. Igu, Gloop, Tara, wife of Xandor. Why would I have Garbage Pail Kids action figures? There's another Doggett. Well, it looks like I have 2 of those, huh? Buffy the Vampire Slayer pals, Ghost Rider figures from the Toy Biz run. Oh, these are the reissues. Cochise, Ivanhoe, Sir Galahad, Robin Hood, Buffalo Bill Cody, The Black Knight, Little John, Friar Tuck. These are all reissues of the original Mego Western heroes. King Arthur is by far my favorite. I love the robe. I love the trim. Even some of the pirates are beautiful. They did a good job replicating the armor as well. Little taste of Buffalo Bill Cody. I think we got Captain Patch. Blackbeard. Okay. We're taking a pause right now for a second. Because I need to before I collapse. Because, 2 14-hour days, I don't think I went to bed till like 3 in the morning, and I got up at about 9, putzing around. But I wanted to put in a good word because, as you can see, I'm preparing myself to write books, hopefully on every single action figure line, major action figure line, He-Man, Star Wars, Star Trek. And what we put that Krause photographer through, what we put Chris through, being so particular, she was fantastic. So if there's any way to work with her again, I don't think we started on the cover until like 8 o'clock last night, and that took us all the way up to 11 o'clock. The Energized Spider-Man copter. This is some older stuff. There's some 90s Iron Man figures in here. The Energized Spider-Man copter, what a lame figure. But when I was a kid, this was the greatest thing in the world. Let's check his posability, folks. There you go. There it is. Just awful. But back then, when you have very little alternatives, and that's something I'd like to say about Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny. If you notice the later figures, and I think we do have some Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry boxes, if you notice, the earlier figures, it wasn't until Ronald Reagan deregulated children's television in the mid-'80s, I think it was 83, that we started to see these licensed action figures, basically half an hour, 24-minute toy commercials. So I never got figures of Scooby-Doo. One of my fondest memories is when I was a kid, we used to go to Buster Brown Shoes. It was like a shoe outlet store, and I got Scooby-Doo shoes. I had to be like 6 or 7 years old, and the shoes came, and I will buy this one day, in a Mystery Machine box. The shoe box was the Mystery Machine. And so I kept that box for probably a year and a half, tooling it around like it was the Mystery Machine, because no toys existed. The government didn't allow it to exist because it would have been a toy tie-in. After the controls were restricted, that's when it wasn't until 2 or 3 years ago that we saw those DC Direct Bugs Bunny action figures, Gas House Gorilla, What's Up Doc stuff, or What's Opera Doc. So I have a fond place in my heart for Ronald Reagan because of what he did for toy collectors. Oh, the elves play set and Christmas decorations. that my wife is going to scream at me because they're not in there. Hi, Grinch. How are you? These are not toys, but this is part of toys. So every Christmas time, I set up the Elves Workshop. Santa Claus is coming to town, a Charlie Brown Christmas. I set all that stuff up in a tasteful way. I never leave toys up in my house. I don't think that's fair to the wife. But if I ever do have my own space, hopefully I'll get to that. Wow, didn't I already show the God Jinrai? I did show the God Jinrai already. So I guess I have 2 of those. Didn't I already show the A-Wing fighter? So that means I have 1 at home and 2 here. Gotta have 3 of the A-Wings, they're beautiful. Moving on. Let's see what you got. Oh, Abominable. How are you? It's Bumble. The Abominable Snowman from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special. I know you guys like the alternators, but I also went out and got some of the Takara die-cast metal alternators. Because you gotta have some samples. Dead End and Streak, and a lot of the alternator boxes are in here. This is more Marvel Legends. Really what revolutionized action figures for a little while, the design, were these Batman the Animated Series action figures that came out in 1992, 93. Man-Bat, Penguin, when the villains were very short-packed and you were scrambling to find a Joker and a Penguin. Okay, so I have to take a second because the last 2 days it's been 90 degrees plus. I mean, if you look at the ceiling, this is a little tin oven. It's a little tin box. Flat roofed. It's probably about 100 degrees in here. So if you see me sweating or acting disgusted, it's because it's really fucking hot in here. And the ticking that you hear is the roof. So it's not background static. That's how hot it is. My life for a climate-controlled space. What the hell is this? Looks like mask vehicles. Must have put them all in a box. So I have a lot of masks in here. I've been trying to complete that toy line the last few days. Vandal. And if you look at the new Matt Tracker figure that's coming out for the G.I.Joe 3 3/4 inch line, you'll notice that his backpack is designed after Brad Turner's Condor, and Matt Tracker is designed after the Matt Tracker figure that comes with the Thunderhawk. But, you know, we gotta pull it out. We gotta transform it from helicopter to motorcycle once. Ready? You gotta watch very carefully because it's very intricate. There we go. Skids down, skids down. Okay. So, these mask vehicles are pretty cool, and hopefully, with that Matt Tracker figure, I hope that, since Hasbro bought out Kenner, I'd like to see them put out an all-new mask line. So this box is pretty deep in mask. This was a sealed Thundercracker when I bought it, and it still has, or a Firecracker when I bought it, and it still has original contents and important messages from Kenner. Hey, Dana Scully! What's up, Scully? Medical doctor uniform. Hey, Scully, how about another autopsy? Okay, Mulder, you think about aliens. I'll have assorted Harry Potter stuff. A toy store went out of business upstate New York, and they were doing 80% off of action figures, so I went in with a couple $100 and bought like tons and tons and tons of stuff. Because I knew ultimately, it would all be useful. We've got CGB Spender, the cigarette smoking man. Gotta get the X-Files stuff in. We've got Migo Daisy Duke, what's up? Should have put her in jean shorts, I don't know why they didn't. What is this? Oh, you know, once in a while you gotta pick up tin trains. It's just nice to have a sample of everything. The tracks are in there, the Transformer is in there. I think this is a Masterpiece Robotech. It's a Robotech masterpiece by Toynami. This is Ben Dixon's VF-1A fighter. I'm not going to open it up because that would take too much time, but it's important to have a couple Robotech pieces kicking around. This is all Marvel Legends, maybe a couple Marvel Comics famous covers, but I keep those at my house because they're Mego-esque. Tried very hard to replicate the Mego action figures, the 1970s. Probably my favorite action figures of all time. More Marvel Legends, some older Marvel superheroes, Spider-Man Web Parachute. This is deep in Star Wars and DC Direct. These figures have gone down considerably. I remember when they were hot, but since Sideshow put out their stuff, these things are just almost worthless. Maybe, what do you think, 20, 25 now? More Troop Builders, X-Men figures, and it goes deep. This is all Star Wars all the way down. We got, you gotta have some manga, or some anime. We've got Vampire Hunter D, a couple samples of that. My favorite DC Direct Bugs Bunnies. What's Opera Doc? What's up? Isn't that beautiful? Bugs Bunny is Brunhild. And Daffy Duck is the Scarlet Pimpernel, based off him. The first actual masked hero before Zorro, the Scarlet Pimpernel. And Elmer Fudd, and What's Opera Doc. Just beautiful. I wrote a pretty detailed article about that cartoon a few years back. Family Guy boxed set. Wow. Awesome. Peter, Lois, Chris, Stewie, Brian, Meg, with all their accessories. Did I get that in the right order? Peter, Lois, Chris, Stewie, Brian, Meg?
Yeah.
Good.
Because Meg's the lowest of the low.
Yes, she is, and we all know that. Then it's more Troop Builders. It looks like a DTC Hiss, couple battle droids, fire speeder pilot, more first appearance crap. Hey, 10 more battle droids. Alright, that's enough of that box. We're on the last tower here. Now, I haven't opened every single box because with Marvel Legends and Star Wars, there are so many boxes full of crap. So, very interesting box. D-Day Animal House figure, sweet. If anyone knows why I have 2 D-Day Animal House figures, we've got a Moltar. Oh. Space Ghost figure from Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Cantina scenes. I love being able to build the full bar. This is Marvel Legends and DC Direct. Some redone Micronauts. Sin City. I always like to take pictures of the Family Guy stuff. Nighttime, Lois and Peter.
What was the secret word, or
the safe word?
or
Banana.
Banana.
But I said the secret word 3 times.
Yeah.
Remco Toys is notorious for making the worst action figures of all time. Warrior Beasts, World of the Warlord, but then sometimes they hit the nail right on the head. Sometimes they do. And these are just beautiful. They're the greatest action figures they ever made. McDonaldland tried to copy Sid and Marty Krofft's H&R Puffin Stuff show by creating McDonaldland characters. Take a look at that card back. By creating McDonaldland characters that were kind of like cartoon figures. They're trying to put a show on the air back in the 70s. I want to say that this is 1976. And the figures that they made, I think I have doubles of most of them. Ronald McDonald. You may or may not recognize these. The Professor. Captain Crook. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the accessories. The print on that hat. Another Ronald McDonald. Hamburglar. Sweet. Another Captain Crook. Another Hamburglar. And then another Professor. Then we get an... Come on.
That's pretty
Mayor
cool.
McCheese.
That's cool.
That is fantastic. Mayor McCheese, and, well, you gotta have Big Mac, too. As a cop. Does he... I don't see the whistle. I want to shake him because around his neck... No, it's back. Around his neck is this tiny little whistle. Even the accessories, if you look at that Mayor McCheese package, it even comes with his glasses and everything. Wow. And, of course, the oddest figure they could possibly make. Grimace. What? Why? But it's still beautiful. And then in this box is one of my favorite play sets. And I wish... Oh, there's a picture on the box. It's an Aliens Deluxe play set. And the odd thing about this play set is that it's made for like PVC type old military figures, you know, the Green Army men. But look at that. Very, very, very interesting. I love when this is set up. Colonial Marines versus Aliens. It's got 2 nice layers. It comes with a bunch of figures. It's one of my favorite play sets, and Palisades made this recently, within the few years. We got a couple G.I. Joe things, Alien and Predator, The Watcher, but that's an interesting box. It's got some really cool toys in it. Sadly, the last box isn't that interesting, but you know, you got a couple things here. The classic Spider-Man Lizard. Oh, Autobot Skids. Oh, here's some Muppet stuff, which I've always found very interesting. Ah, we found him. Dr. Julius Strangepork. Fantastic. Oh, isn't that beautiful? That robot is amazing. Link Hogthrob. Coosbane Kermit. This was a Target exclusive. I have like 4 or 5 of these. I just love him in his old Sesame Street reporter outfit. And then, you know, a couple of the old Marvel Legends figures. Red Skull, 8-inch, ultra-posable figure with authentic fabric costume. Really interesting that they put the Cosmic Cube from the comic books right on the front. I don't even think that's an accessory, but they put the Cosmic Cube on there is nice. And for the younger kids like Carnage. He's a serial killer transformed into a supervillain. Kids shouldn't like Carnage. And the rest of it is deep in Marvel Legends and DC Direct stuff. So that was the final box. There's a feeling of accomplishment now, that we've actually done something. The sad thing is that now that we've got everything back in there, I'm still going to have to come out here and parcel out doubles and triples and quadruples and quintuples, but there's a lot of stuff in this old storage space. I think it's time to start cutting down the collection. I mean, I don't need that band bat cave up there. I don't need it. There's a difference between need and want. And that Playmobil Romans Arena, I need to have because it's beautiful. You know, I like having a Yoda hand puppet. I will keep Godzilla, I'll keep the Adept, but I think it's time to get rid of the newer stuff, pare it down, and keep the vintage stuff. And the more sentimental pieces from the new stuff. Bugs Bunny, G.I. Joe I'd have to keep. Transformer new stuff probably I'd have to keep, just in case I do another book on Transformers, but it was eventful coming to the storage space. Every time I come here, like today we found a box that I hadn't opened last time, that I thought I had gone through everything when I did the G.I. Joe book, but it's always fun to see what new things you find or forget. And there's a scene in The Jerk that this reminds me of, when Steve Martin, after he becomes a millionaire and he starts to lose all of his money, he's walking out of his house penniless, and he says, well, I don't need any of this. I don't need anything except this thermos and this thing here and this thing here and this thing here. So even Steve Martin understood that, and he's carrying all the stuff in the picture too, the ping pong paddle, the chair. But, you know, I don't need all this stuff. No one needs all this, but I've made it useful, I guess, to justify my existence as a collector. I've parlayed it into books to justify what I do. And that way I don't feel quite as guilty. So I guess that's it. That's all we have for today.